we're going right now.
Hey, welcome to Sci-Frantic.
This is Sci-Frantic.
I'm Mike.
And
This
I'm the
is me,
Wallman.
Mike.
Whoa, Clark. Hold on. We got to introduce you,
I was pointing to Mike. He said I'm Mike.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I was just pointing up to Mike, who's up
This is
above
Wall.
me.
Yeah, I'm over. Yeah, and then
that's
Clark's over here. And we got a special guest today on Sci-Frantic. I'm going to call him the OG soundtrack guy I know, Clark. What's up,
Hey.
Clark?
How's it going? That's quite a compliment. How are you guys?
We're good, man. We're on our fourth episode.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the show. I'm one of the early subscribers to the Sci-Frantic,
which means
channel.
You're one of 25.
So I'm very honored to be a part of the show.
Great. So, Michael, what are we doing today?
All right. So for today's episode, we will be doing our top 5 Star Trek episodes.
Wow, what do you got going on there? What is that?
The
Let me
Starfleet
see that
Academy.
thing. Oh, wow. Did we get that in Vegas?
Yeah, I've had this when we went to the what was it called? The Star Trek
Experience at the Hilton, which has
been closed down for like 15 years.
We really need to do some kind of video about that because it was a wonderful experience. Clark, did you ever have a chance to do that?
No, when I went to Las Vegas with Mike for the Star Trek convention back in 2017, people were talking about it constantly as if it were some kind of, mythical thing lost to the ages. But it sounded very cool. I wish I could have done it.
I mean, Clark's bar was right out of the show. And it had cast members, not like waitresses. They had a Borg and a Quark or a Ferengi. And
hey, well, tell your Borg story.
Oh, wow. You want me to tell that story?
Tell your Borg story.
Great story. Okay, so we're at the Star Trek Experience, a young 26-year-old Steve Wall. We'd had our warp core breach, which was free with a coupon on the monorail. This drink was in a fishbowl, Clark, and it was like every liquor known to man, and it smoked.
Had like dry ice in it.
Dry ice. So let's just say after the warp core breach, we were all feeling mighty good. So the Borg guy walked over, and like I said, these were actors. They were not like waiters or waitresses. They literally there were poster boards of these actors. So if you call it like the Ferengi out or the Borg out or the Klingon, they were legit. So the Borg comes over to the table while we're drinking this warp core, and I go, "Hey man," he goes, "Hello," and I'm like, "So were you human or what?" He said, "I was a human. I was assimilated." I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "At the Battle of Wolf 359?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "Really?" So I was like, "Oh."
You kind of start laughing.
Yeah, He goes, "Why are you laughing?" He goes, "There was a lot of casualties that day. 10,000, if I remember."
No empathy from you.
And I go, "Well, what starship were you on?" He goes, "I was on the starship, the Melbourne, which was a starship that Riker was going to be the commander of that was lost at the Battle of Wolf 359. It's just a great experience, man. It's like the Ferengi. I bought the rules of acquisition, and I asked him, "What's the 76th rule?" Me and Mike's favorite rule of acquisition. What is it?
War is good for business.
Yeah, war is good for business, and then the next one's peace is good for business. So I asked them both. I wish I still had that book. I'm telling where it is. It's lost in time. But we got some pictures. They had an excellent bridge from the Enterprise D. Me and Mike got great pictures in it. I was young then, man. We were all young.
Mine's actually hanging on the wall over here. My picture from that, but
were we with Bill that year, or was it just you and me?
We went twice. So the year that we had the warp core breach, it was me, you, and a couple other people.
Now, I remember when you and I went to Las Vegas for the convention, they did have a nice replica of the Enterprise bridge, but it was only for those fancy photo shoots with the actors. So you could only go on it if you wanted to pay for like the $300 photo shoot with William Shatner or whoever they were putting
that must
on
have been
the bridge.
That's like the Star Trek con y'all did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the original series bridge. Now ours, the one we got for this one was the Enterprise or the Next
The
Generation.
TNG bridge. Yeah.
Enterprise D. Come on, guys. 1701D. Okay. So, Mike, let's get back on point. What are we doing today?
I just said.
Did we say it already?
Yeah, we're doing our top five.
Yeah.
Top 5 Star Trek episode.
Okay. Well, who wants to start?
Have you had a warp core breach today?
No, I haven't, but it's been a long day for sure. I've been thinking about this. I've been watching all the episodes over again. I couldn't decide on 5. This was so hard for me. It was so, like I woke up thinking about it. It's like, okay, who wants to start? Number 5.
We'll let the guest start. We'll let Clark start.
Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
All right. Well, I will preface this by saying this was very difficult for me as well because, since we're going across the entire history of Star Trek, all the shows, you have to leave whole shows that I love out of this, basically. But 5 episodes that I've watched a lot that mean a lot to me that I really love. At number 5 on the list, I'm going with one that I really enjoy from the original series, and that's the episode Devil in the Dark. This episode is really cool. It's basically the Enterprise gets called out to this mining colony because there's this mysterious creature that's been killing people who are working in the mines. And Kirk and Spock and Bones have to go figure out what's going on, why this creature is killing people, whether it can be stopped. And it starts out, the first half of the episode, it's basically kind of a horror themed episode of Star Trek with this monster killing people, all these, suspenseful scenes in these dark corridors in the mines, all these cool blue lights. And then about midway through the episode, there's a point where Spock has to try to mind meld with this creature to try and understand what it wants. And at that point, the episode shifts into something else entirely. And it's a really fascinating piece of science fiction. And it's also a great piece of acting from Leonard Nimoy, who, is usually his cool, calm, reserved self, but has to play some really intense emotions in this episode and does it incredibly well. And the ending is very moving. It's just a great piece of sci-fi, great hour of television.
So you would say it's a Spock-centric episode?
It's Spock, Kirk, and Bones. It's got stuff for all of them to do, but I think Spock is probably giving the most crucial performance in the episode. Okay. And it's amazing how much emotional lifting he does because the monster in this episode, it's like foam and cardboard, basically. It doesn't speak.
Like a rock.
It's this goofy looking moving rock, basically. And yet, because of what Leonard Nimoy does and the way he conveys what this goofy looking rock is feeling, it's incredibly moving. And William Shatner actually said, I have a quote from him here. This is his favorite episode of the original series. And
William Shatner said that.
William Shatner said that. He said it's exciting, thought-provoking, and intelligent, contained all the ingredients that made up our very best Star Treks.
Wow.
So that's my number 5.
When was that? When was that published?
It was from one of his memoirs, but he's written so many, I'd have to check and see which year that was.
I would ask him, but if you ask him any question about Star Trek now, he will not answer it.
Yeah.
One of my jokes that I've made is that if you go on to later on Trek, whenever they had a Vulcan, they made it seem like doing a mind meld was like difficult or you shouldn't do it. But on the original series, it seemed like they were doing mind melds a lot. Like Kirk would be like, "Yeah, just do a mind meld."
Yeah.
At least to me.
Basically, you're saying it's like something that they shouldn't use because it's immoral. And
or like difficult on the Vulcan. I don't know, but in later on series, they make it like you don't want to do it.
Wow. So Clark, did you ever meet William Shatner?
I did meet William Shatner.
You did a few panels with William Shatner, right?
Yeah, we were all at the Star Trek convention in Atlanta together.
Oh, was he there?
He was there.
Yeah.
So I know I got to ask him a couple of questions at his panel and interact with him there. And then the only other interaction I had with him was getting his autograph. I had a picture of him from Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country, and he was just signing his name.
My favorite Star Trek movie.
Yeah, it's a great Star Trek movie. But I asked him if he would mind, because I wanted, to ask him if he could just write something short on there other than just his signature. And I asked him if he could write fire, from
where he's like, fire.
Yeah. and he goes, fire, and then he writes it down.
So he didn't even do it like he does in the movie?
No, he's like asking me a question, like he's trying to remember, and he goes,
Fire.
But then he does write it like with the exclamation point, fire,
Okay,
exclamation
well,
point.
I'm
So
gonna have
he
to.
remembered something.
I'm gonna have to recreate it right here because he gets out of the chair, right? He's like, fire.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's gonna be great, man.
Hey man,
That's a great
quote. You got a quote on it. Nowadays they charge like $60 more to put a quote on.
So as you know, since you watched a few episodes, me and Mike love to talk about our con experiences when it comes to these shows. And you were there at one of the greatest con experiences I've ever done. And maybe we shouldn't even talk about it right now because General Martok was there, and he's in one of my top 5 episodes. And you get up there and sing karaoke with him, belting out. What was it?
Jeremiah was a
bull.
Joy to the World. Yeah.
The crowd was dead. I remember that. Like everybody was like almost asleep. And then you and me go up there. I go up there. I'm scared to death. And you're like, hey, just go up there with me, Wall. I said, hey, man, I'll try to do my best. I'm not a great singer. You belted out. The whole crowd goes nuts. We got Martok, J.G. Hertzler, and Gowron. I can't think of his name. Robert. And they were like on me, hanging on me. They've had a few drinks. We've had a few drinks. And it was just one of the greatest experiences I've ever had at the con. It really is top.
Was, an amazing memory. I love the memory of those two guys playing air guitar, dancing around on the stage.
Remember it started with Trenier and Dominic, right? They were doing it.
Right. Yeah.
And then I guess they got tired of it. So JG and them took over, which if you're going to party like it's 2012, whatever it was, it needs to be 2 Klingons.
Those guys are great.
Oh, yeah. Y'all got the combo photo with them.
Mike and I got the Klingon
in makeup
photo.
So that was a great experience. Okay, well, you got anything else on the episode, or would y'all want to move on to the next one?
I'll pass it to the next person, whichever y'all wants to go next.
Michael?
I'll go next. So for my number 5 episode, it will be Star Trek: The Next Generation, Hollow Pursuits. Y'all know who's in that one?
Barclay, Mr. Broccoli.
Mr. Broccoli.
Claire actually wanted me to have it in my top 5.
This is a new addition. Like I was talking with y'all earlier, I feel like my list is pretty depressing. So I had to put one that's funny, and I love this episode. I like holodeck episodes in general because usually they can use their imagination and do a lot with them.
Right.
But
and
this
you picked a good one. That is a great holodeck episode.
This episode starts with, Barclay he's an introverted, nervous guy, and he feels like he doesn't fit in with the crew.
Right.
And so
they're making fun of him.
What they do make fun of him, and that leads to him, being nervous and not wanting to talk around them,
right? Being
introverted. So how he releases this, releases some tension or whatever, or his nervousness, he goes to the holodeck and he relives things on the holodeck. But he does something that's kind of a little taboo. It's not against regulations, but he uses crew members.
Yes, Deanna Troi specifically.
Well, everyone's in there, but
Wesley Crusher.
Wesley Crusher eats pie for pretty much a good 10 minutes. I wonder if he really is like eating that, because that would be gross.
Who is the best representation though?
So basically,
you don't think who was the?
Well, are you going to talk through my whole thing, or?
I'm sorry, dude. Sorry, I get excited about this stuff. I'm sorry.
I'm getting to where you're talking about.
Okay.
So basically, in the episode, he kind of, there's also a problem going on the Enterprise. The everything's starting to malfunction. The transporter malfunctions. Everything's malfunctioning. So they need Barclay to help with that as well. So it's kind of in between him, being off duty, him trying to help. when he's talking with number one and Geordi and Picard, and Picard at the end of it calls him broccoli. He called him broccoli, and it's like, and even funnier part of that is when he walks away, Data tries to explain how he could have made that mistake, and it's even funnier because Picard looks at him like, "Stop talking."
Well, but Picard didn't mean to call him Mr. Broccoli.
He didn't mean to. It was an accident.
Right.
But yeah, so going on through that, there's a scene towards the end where they have to go get Barclay because literally they're 30 minutes away from the ship exploding and they need his help. And they go into the holodeck, which is kind of funny. The first time Geordi goes in there, he just busts into this guy's holodeck thing, and it's like, you don't know what he's doing in there. Like, he just busts in.
I want my holodeck locked, personally.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? You should have to ring a bell and be like, "Hey, can I come in?"
Yeah, put a sock on the holo door or whatever.
But
come on, we're all thinking it.
So he goes in there, and of course, some of the greatest stuff is when they're sword fighting, and you know that Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner have to be loving this because they come from a theater background, and they're doing the huzzah, have at thee, and stuff like that.
It's almost like a Robin Hood kind of thing.
Three Musketeers type thing.
Yeah, Three Musketeers. There you go.
So then Riker doesn't want to, fight with them. So they're like, okay, we're going to call over our, kind of like the guy that we send to fight if you are not a good fighter. So this little guy comes up, and it's Riker as a little guy. And it's funny because Troy turns to him, and she's like, "Well, you are kind of tall, and it is intimidating."
That's a great scene.
That thing's hilarious. And of course, he erases that character or, gets rid of him. And he tries to delete the whole program, but Troy's like, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that. He's got to, this could be jarring for him." So after that, they go, and of course, her character shows up, the goddess of empathy. And of course, she's dressed a little provocatively. And she's like about to delete that character, and Riker's like, "Belay that
program. Belay that order, yeah."
You can tell he just loves it. But honestly, at the end of it, Barclay saves the day because he figures out what it is that's making everything go haywire, 3 minutes before the ship explodes.
He turns into a fan favorite.
People love Barclay episodes. He even shows up in Voyager, to help out in Voyager.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5.
He saves Voyager.
Another thing I like about that episode, and you're right, it's very entertaining, but it also kind of nods at the idea of holodeck addiction. And I think that's something like, in reality, if the holodeck were a real thing, that would just be an incredibly rampant problem they would have to deal with.
It's a great point you bring up, Clark. And I had that conversation with Claire. Like, there's an episode of DS9, and I'll talk about it later with the holodeck. And they're like, "Oh, he's living his life in a holodeck." Who wouldn't want to live their life in a holodeck?
Yeah. Well, and in this episode, even Geordi is like, "I've had my problems, with the holodeck." He's like, "I had a girlfriend in there," and you have to learn to,
I mean, you can do anything in a holodeck. You could go anywhere. I mean, yeah, I get it's not real, but you could, especially with society how it is now. We get lost in the phone. What society do getting lost in a holodeck?
I can't say I wouldn't be there. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, and like you said, I definitely have to put a lock on the door. Okay, Michael.
What's your number 5, Walls?
Well, okay, so we got top 5. I'm not going to do this is number 5. I am going to segue into a holodeck episode since you did. I think it's perfect segue. So I just mentioned it. It's the Paper Moon episode with Nog.
Oh, that's a great one.
I almost put that one.
So, the episode deals with PTSD that Nog handles in the Battle of AR-558, where he gets injured against the Jem'Hadar and loses a leg. So he needs rehabilitation, obviously, and he goes to the holodeck, and he picks Vic Fontaine's program because Doc Bashir was playing Vic Fontaine during that whole battle. So he's like, "I want to hear this song." And Jake is, I guess they're roommates, and he's pissed off because he's literally played this song for 2 weeks straight. So Jake pisses him off, and he goes downstairs to the holodeck, which is Cork's bar, and he turns on the Vic Fontaine program, which is an incredible character. It's basically like a 1960s casino with a lounge singer, like almost like Frank Sinatra would be. And so basically throughout the whole episode, Nog wants to live there, and you got Esri who's trying to get him out of it. She's the counselor. She's trying to, and Jake trying to get him out of the holodeck because he's living his life. And it basically ends with Vic Fontaine, who has been on for 2 weeks now. And he even says to Nog, I've never been able to live. I've never been able to sleep in a bed. Like it's a cool idea as far as science fiction goes. The holodeck is alive, the hollow character is alive. He's getting to do things like hang out with his buddies, go to sleep, go to the bar, play games, stuff like that. And basically Esri goes to Vic and it's like, look, Nog is missed in the real world. And Vic is like, Nog, you got to get out of here. You can't waste your life in a holodeck. And he says, you're not listening to me, kiddo. Computer in program. And he shuts himself down. He's got self-awareness, this hollow program. He shuts himself down, and Nog is trying to turn him back on. And O'Brien shows up and he's like, hey, Vic can turn himself on and off. He's not like a regular holodeck program. He's different. And then Vic shows back up and has this incredible speech. He's like, hey, now that you know that I'm not the average bear. He's like, Nog, why do you not want to go back to the real world? He's like, I'm afraid. I'm scared. I lost a leg. I'm going to die out there. The war is killing everybody. The Federation's losing. He's like, I'm doomed. And Vic is like, look, you stay in this holodeck, you'll die. You will die piece by piece. You will be as hollow as me. And Nog has this great line. He turns to me, he goes, you don't feel hollow to me. And he goes, dude, I'm hollow as a snare drum. And it's like, I was like teared up. We're all rewatching the episode. And then he gives this speech. He's like, look, you might die, but at least you're playing the game. At least you're giving it a shot. And Nog leaves the holodeck and goes back to his life as an ensign in Starfleet. And to me, it's just a beautiful technology, sci-fi. Is Vic Fontaine alive? Which Star Trek has explored its entire history from Data to the Doctor. All of these animatronic / holographic characters are sentient, So there you go. That's my holodeck episode.
Yeah, he was a very good concierge during that episode too. Like people were coming in to the bar, and he became like the greeter. He became like,
yeah, and then he beat the hell out of Jake. He beat up Jake, and Vic had to kick him out of the bar. He's like, Pally, you're not going to hit my customers. Okay. Well,
Clark, you want to go to your number 4? This will be Clark's number 4.
Sure. Number 4. This is one I'm guessing may turn up later on in the show for you guys as well. But we were talking a little bit beforehand, and it was decided that 2-part episodes should count as one entry. So that being said, I put Best of Both Worlds parts 1 and 2.
Oh, which series is that from?
That's actually from Lower Decks. No, it's from Star Trek: The Next Generation. It is the season 3 finale and the season 4 premiere. Probably one of the most popular and beloved episodes in Star Trek history, and I think justifiably so. The end has the big cliffhanger with Picard being overtaken by the Borg and turning into Locutus. And this 2-parter, I think, is not only a great episode, but it's a really important one in Star Trek history, because I think if it had not been as great as it was, we wouldn't have a lot of the Star Trek that followed. Because this episode played a huge role in reinvigorating interest in The Next Generation, which, let's face it, had a pretty bumpy first couple of seasons and really kind of started to hit its stride in season 3. And then with that finale, finally really, captured people. And from that point on, Star Trek had a big foothold in the culture.
About what year did that come out?
Well, let's see. It started in 87, so I'm guessing it would have been 90 or so.
Yeah, so I remember, so I was probably 8, and I remember what a big deal, like you said, it was. It was must-watch TV.
Yeah. It's also in contrast to a lot of the episodes before it. You know, there are some other Star Trek episodes that are some more TNG episodes that are more kind of cinematic in nature, but it had never felt as big as it did in that episode. It could almost be one of the Star Trek movies. And I think if it were, it would be the best of the TNG movies. But in addition to being a great Picard episode, it's a great Riker episode. And I think the part of that story that a lot of people tend to forget about is Riker having to grapple with where he's at in his career, you know, what kind of leader he wants to be, you know, whether he wants to stick with the Enterprise or move on and take
Shelby's there.
Yeah, Shelby's there kind of nipping at his heels like, look, get out because I want your job.
You're old. It's time for you to go. Why are you still here?
She ain't being like super mean about it or anything. She's just like, you know what? You should go up so that I can go up.
Yeah, well, but she seems really smart and capable and everything. And at first, she really annoys him. But then after he pauses and thinks about it, he's like, no, you know what? She's exactly like I was when I was her age. But I've gotten old. You know, what's happened to me?
Well, Admiral Hansen makes a point to say, hey, look, we pulled the chair out for Riker multiple times. And if he don't seize the day and take command of a starship, he's going to find himself left behind by people like Shelby.
Yeah. But it's such an effective, you know, cliffhanger that it's easy to see why Star Trek, not only TNG, but the shows that followed, Deep Space Nine and Voyager, kept trying to chase the high of Best of Both Worlds. And I think there's some very good two-part episodes that came later, but none of them ever quite matched the dramatic power of Best of Both Worlds.
Speaking of that dramatic power, me and Mike watched a special screening of Best of Both Worlds, right, Mike?
At the theater.
At the theater. Yeah. And I will say what you just said is very poignant, how it could have been a movie. But I will reiterate though that cliffhanger, because it literally went from Mr. Worf fire, dun 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 dun, beam shoots, it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And it really, to me, watching it like that, it lost a lot of the drama that you probably got when you watched it for the first time and you had to wait 6 months to see, oh my God, Riker just killed Picard.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what did you have Frank say? Did you have Frank say at a convention?
Yeah. the same convention, which, you know, everybody knows Jonathan Frakes is my favorite Star Trek character. That line where he's like, Mr. Worf, dun, 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 camera pans in, fire. And I asked Jonathan Frakes, I was like, look, man, in my Southern, real excited, probably real fast. Hey, Mr. Frakes, could you please do that line from Best of Both Worlds? He's like, which one? Will you say Mr. Wall, fire? You remember that? And he had a bottle of water and he flipped it up in his hand, caught it. He goes, Mr. Wall, fire. And then the crowd, I remember, went nuts because it was a very intimate crowd, that con.
Yeah.
It was like,
there were like 500 people total there.
But we saw all of them the same at every panel, every signing. Like, we got to know half the freaking con goers. And honestly, we saw Jonathan Frakes walking in and out, talking to us, you know, chit-chatting. But yeah, that's I mean, Best of Both Worlds. I would like to say I watched that as a young man, and it kind of hit the chord for Star Trek for me.
I will say at that convention too, one of the funniest moments ever is whenever we were sitting in the hotel lobby with our Red Bulls. And Frank comes through and he goes, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull for everyone, or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell the Trenier story.
No, it wasn't Connor Trenier. That was the other guy.
Dominic Keating.
Yeah. I'm not telling that story, but
okay, good. But thanks.
The Frank thing was pretty cool. Well, and the fact that, you know, we ate breakfast literally like a table away from him and Michael Dorn. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I remember we bumped into him so many times that weekend that on Facebook at the time. I remember I was keeping like a log of like Frakes encounter number 5, you know, and whatever.
That's not creepy.
Yeah.
Stalker.
Not at all.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Frakes. Well, speaking of Frakes, you interviewed him one time.
I did. Well, me and my co-host on the podcast that we did. Yes, we talked to him because he directed 2 of the Star Trek movies, Star Trek First Contact and Star Trek Insurrection. And the podcast that we do is about the film composer Jerry Goldsmith, who scored both of those movies, as well as other Star Trek films, wrote the themes for Voyager, The Next Generation, a big figure in Star Trek musical history. So we interviewed Frakes specifically about his relationship with Jerry Goldsmith and working with him on those films. And he was very generous with his time and told some great stories.
He's been nothing. I mean,
yeah,
he's one of
just
the
a great
first
guy.
con guys I ever met. And I remember I was looking at him and Marina was sitting next to him. And I'm like, I leaned over and I'm like, dude, she's still gorgeous. And he's like, I know. And this was like 15 years ago, Definitely I need a link to that and I'll put it in the comments so that people can check it
also
out.
this is a fact that I know. Jerry Goldsmith's son, Joel Goldsmith, worked with him on First Contact.
Wait a minute, how do you know that?
That is a fact.
Somebody told me.
Yeah, maybe it was a soundtrack expert.
Yeah, Joel Goldsmith did not have quite the same career as his father, but he did have a successful career as a composer. Jerry Goldsmith was an Oscar-winning film composer who scored movies like Chinatown and Alien. So many Star Trek movies.
Joe
Dante's movies, Gremlins. The list goes on and on. Joel Goldsmith never hit that level of success, but he did, kind of make it into the industry. He scored a lot of Stargate, was kind of one of his big things. He worked with Charles Band on a lot of
series like
kind of low
SG-1?
budget stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Charles Band stuff is actually pretty good. Like the Full Moon music.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well,
he did some of that stuff.
Clark, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Best Star Trek soundtrack. I'm gonna tell you mine, and then you tell me yours.
Okay.
Star Trek 5. I thought the mountain, where Kirk's climbing the mountain, is some of the most. Oh my God, it's just beautiful.
Yeah,
and it's got the Klingon theme in it. Obviously, he made all these themes in the motion picture, but I thought they were really refined in Star Trek 5, Final Frontier.
Yeah, that's a valid pick, I think. And for me, it probably is Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I think the sequence with the Enterprise docking, that 6-minute sequence, is just one of the most powerful fusions of music and image that I've
it's
seen
got the theme, blaring, and it's beautiful.
But Star Trek's blessed with a lot of great sound. Like it's hard to discount, what James Horner does on The Wrath of Khan.
I love
Cliff Idleman's score
Generation
for the
soundtrack.
Generation. That's Dennis McCarthy.
Yeah.
All the Goldsmiths are good. I love, actually, after Goldsmith and Horner, my third favorite might be Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country by Cliff Idleman. That's a great score that has some kind of darker edges. Yeah,
he gets no love for that score, and it's
very underrated.
Obviously, we need to do a top score at some point.
Yeah, we should.
Well, I'm going to let y'all know Best of Both Worlds was in my top 5, so that took one of mine.
So you want to say that's your number 4?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's my number 4, and I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. I think the one thing Clark might have missed that is so integral, that is literally mentioned throughout Star Trek afterwards, is the Battle of Wolf 359 is in that episode. It's one of those moments. It's the nine. I don't even know if I can say it. It's the bam, the big moment, the big Chernobyl of Star Trek.
Dude, the Deep Space Nine kind of the first episode starts with
emissary. It starts with the battle.
Yeah,
it starts with the Battle of Wolf 359. So what? And Shaw, Cisco, but Battle of Wolf 359 is mentioned throughout Star Trek lore. And that you don't even get to see the battle. That's what's so, because the budgetary constraints of Best of Both Worlds. I think Best of Both Worlds, that moment in TNG, it took off. It was like you said, the catalyst that every Star Trek has tried to catch in the bottle. The guy that directed it, he's directed a lot of good episodes. I think his name was Boyd. I can't speak anything else on it that you haven't already hit. So Best of Both Worlds, number 4.
Mike, did you do your number 4?
I'm going with my number 4 now. It's got right here. It's got right here.
Whoa, who is that?
Chief Miles O'Brien.
Oh, Petty Chief Miles O'Brien.
We're going to go with Deep Space Nine.
An episode.
Hard Time.
Oh man,
Oh, great.
that's
So
a great one.
Deep Space Nine Hard Time is an episode where it begins with a old Chief O'Brien with a beard down to here, hair out to here, and you're like, oh my god, what happened? So you find out that he's been in prison for 20 years. You're like, how? Okay, so what happened was these aliens, don't ask me their name, they they find out
Binars.
yeah, not the Binars. They think that he was messing around with some stuff that he shouldn't have been. So they basically, sentenced him and then inserted I don't know how they do it, but they basically make it seem like he's been in prison for 20 years. So literally within hours. So it's been hours to, the regular timeline, but in his mind, it's been 20 years and he's been in prison.
Right.
It's I don't know why I didn't write down the name of the guy that's in the prison cell with him. I should look that up.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
But he's in there and basically doesn't get fed. They don't get fed for maybe weeks, so they have to learn to save food.
He's his cellmate, right?
His cellmate, yeah. His cellmate teaches him how to draw little chakras on the floor to pass time.
HR,
that's it. Yep. So he's with HR for years and years and years. In fact, I'm pretty sure he says at the end he's with HR until like 2 weeks or something before they release him.
right?
But in the end, he ends up killing HR. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Strike it.
Yeah, unaliving.
And because he thinks that HR has put away some food and he wasn't going to share it.
Yes.
But it ends up HR had saved a lot of food and was going to share it with him. And
what is for his birthday or something?
I don't think it's for his birthday. I think it's just he is kind of like saved away for another day. But the bigger part of this, I mean, the great parts of that are, he's in the cell, he's having to go through all that with HR. But then it's about him coming out of that and having to deal with people who are like, to them, he's been gone for 2 hours. But for him, he hasn't seen them for 20 years. He had almost like forgotten the name of his daughter. Forgot about, all these people that he was friends with. So it's all about
Molly. Forgot Molly. Forgot what's his wife's name? Oh my god, Keiko.
Yep, Keiko.
I knew Molly, but I couldn't remember Keiko. But they put. I mean, if you think of all the episodes, and I had to think of all the O'Brien episodes, they put him through a lot through this series.
Yeah,
but
he gets tortured throughout the show.
He really does. But Hard Time is the episode where I feel like O'Brien really got to act, and Calamini got a lot of good screen time. In TNG, he didn't really get much. Like it wasn't until Deep Space Nine that he really got to shine.
I think that the writers really liked Cole Meany, and they would give him a lot to do in TNG for like a C character.
Yeah.
But it's like you were talking about, that episode's so phenomenal because he sees HR during the episode back home.
He keeps seeing him.
You don't really get the hook until the end. Like you find out why Miles is guilty about something. We don't know what he has done to HR. And HR is talking to him through a vision. Well, I guess PTSD or whatever you want to call it. While he's walking around DS9, and and HR is just a kind person, his cellmate, and what great,
very nice. He never does anything to warrant what happens to him.
No, but that's the point of the conviction, I guess, right? That's good sci-fi, right?
It drives you crazy. The loneliness. I mean, even though he's there with HR, you're with the same person for 20 years in this one little cell.
But does it rehabilitate you? Because you basically become a murderer. In your mind, you're a murderer.
It doesn't feel like it rehabilitated. I mean, honestly, it just feels like a really harsh punishment.
So you're telling me that they make you a murderer, basically, which Miles was not, and that's your rehabilitation? I don't know. These aliens are pretty sinister, if you ask me.
They were, I mean, pretty rough. But I mean, and he has to deal with his anger coming back. He yells at Molly at one point, even to the point where he's getting down in her face.
Abusive. He got a little abusive. Yeah.
And I think the horror of that situation, not just being stuck in there for so long and feeling like you're isolated, but then after you're back, not having anybody you can really connect to or talk to about it, because it's not like they can say, "Yeah, man, we missed you. You were gone so long," to have any semblance of what he's been through, to still feel some version of that loneliness after the fact and not be able to fully express to anyone, the trauma that you've endured. It's really a painful thing.
They almost
Going
dropped
back
him to
on
suicide. He
Yeah.
literally
Oh,
has a phaser to his
Bashir
head.
stops him, right?
Yeah,
Bashir stops him.
stop him.
Yeah, and you would think that this episode would have repercussions in the show, but I mean, poor Miles, he gets his shit kicked in every episode. He is a lone solo episode, but they
That's
never
the one
bring.
bad thing about the episode is after that you never really they don't the next episode he's better.
Right, there's just no repercussions. Like
it
this
seems like it would have been maybe a year. It probably would take him
going back on what I was talking about on Best of Both Worlds. Picard deals with the trauma of becoming a Borg, even 30 years later in the Picard show.
Yep.
And to me, Miles, that right there should be with him. To me, the writers missed out on an opportunity. It was a wealth of stuff to write.
Even the fact that he murdered. Even though in the end you didn't really kill someone because it was just implanted in you, but in your mind, you really did kill that guy.
I'm saying you're a murderer.
And it's surprising that happened on Deep Space Nine in particular, because TNG, because it was still very much a episode of the week type television show, there were a lot of big things that happened, and then by the next episode they don't get mentioned again. Something like the Battle of Wolf 359 is a big exception to that.
Right.
But a lot of big things happen that just kind of get left behind. But on Deep Space Nine, they were generally increasingly really good at letting the repercussions of things that happen carry through the series. So it's surprising, given that they didn't do more
right. That trauma should have been
where they started long form storytelling.
Yeah,
TNG to a degree did it, but DS9 is where they really started doing it.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna sit back and think back. We had 24 episodes of DS9. We had 24 episodes of TNG. We don't get that anymore. Everything's long form now. I almost wish we would go back to a little bit more episodic television and just get these one-offs. And that's kind of where I was going for, how easily watchable certain episodes are, because I don't need to have the whole arc. You know, I know the characters. I know Riker. I know Picard. And I know by the end of this episode, it's going to get tied up and we're going to be right on to the next episode. I don't need to know what happened last week.
And to give credit where it's due, I know none of us have any of the newer Star Trek series on our top 5 list, but Strange New Worlds is a show that at least has tried to bring back kind of the episode of the week type storytelling. There's some serialization there, but I do appreciate that they're trying to do, this week we've got a fun little comedy adventure, and this week we've got, something dark and serious, and changing it up and doing something new each episode.
Well, it seemed like you were talking about the long form stuff that was always left for the cliffhanger season finale, right?
Yeah.
So on TNG, the big Tasha Yar dying, that was I think it was a season finale. Maybe it was the episode before that was the finale.
Right, a couple episodes before the end. I don't think she made it all the way to the end of the first season. I'd have to double check that. But
me too. Hey, fact check that. Whoever picked they like Predator 2, see if we're wrong there. You're clearly, okay. Well, I'm gonna go with my next one because.
So you're gonna go with your number 3?
Yeah, let's go with we're on 3, right? So I'm gonna go with 3 because it's an O'Brien episode as well. But I know what you're thinking, Michael. DS9 O'Brien episode. Wrong. It is The Wounded on TNG.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember The Wounded on TNG?
I do not.
It's the first introduction of the Cardassians.
Oh, wow.
So Captain Maxwell, played by the guy who was in the Shawshank Redemption, the warden.
Bob Gunton.
Right. Is the captain of the he's in a Nebula class starship. Did I say the starship earlier? I can't remember. But basically he goes on a attack raid in Cardassian space because something that was going on during TNG that they never bring up was we were at war with the Cardassians. And supposedly this border war had been going on for 20 years. Like Picard mentions being in the what's his star, the Stargazer, attacking Cardassians. Like it's like, well, how is this war not mentioned in TNG except for this episode? So the war is over. We have a treaty. O'Brien served under Captain Maxwell on the Battle of Setlik 3, where Cardassians attacked and supposedly killed a bunch of families, and O'Brien killed some Cardassians. And it started the seed in his brain, which, if you watch O'Brien episodes, he never liked Cardassians.
No, he hated Cardassians.
DS9, he even calls them Cardies.
Yep.
You know, it's very anti-Cardassian, and he tells why in that episode. So in the episode, Gul Dukat, which is not Gul Dukat, Mark Alamo is the first Cardassian. I don't know if y'all knew that. He's not Gul Dukat, but he gets on the Enterprise and helps Picard hunt down Maxwell and his Nebula class starship, which there's a cool moment where they use the console to try to lower the shields, just like they do in Wrath of Khan, which I've never seen them do this in anything other than Star Trek Wrath of Khan and the Wounded, where he orders Worf, give them the prefix codes so they can order the starship to lower its shields. But Maxwell was smart enough to change the codes so that it didn't happen. I think it's a really cool moment that I've never seen anybody talk about that. It's such a big integral moment in Wrath of Khan where he drops Khan shields using the console of the Enterprise. But the whole episode is O'Brien thinking about the past and maybe the war's over, and he actually beams over to Maxwell and gets him to surrender. And they sing a song, and they were, obviously Maxwell, you find out his children and wife were killed in the raid of Setlik 3. And they bring up Setlik 3 throughout DS9. One of the good single episodes. He's on trial basically for Setlik 3. But to me, it's a good established O'Brien episode. Like I said, the writers must have liked him. He got his own episode. He's like a C character on the show. So yeah.
For the longest, you just saw him when they were going to transport.
Yeah, just standing there pushing his button.
So I would stress watch that episode again. It's a lot better than I think people let on. And I wanted to do an O'Brien episode that was offshoot and obscure. So that's my O'Brien episode.
That's a good pick.
Clark, you want to go with your number 3?
Sure. My number 3 is maybe a semi-controversial pick, but it's an episode I really like. Close. No, from Deep Space Nine, the episode In the Pale Moonlight.
Wow.
This episode is a somewhat contentious one among Star Trek fans, but it begins with a very troubled Sisko in his quarters. He's recording a captain's log entry about his attempt to bring the Romulans into the war. And this is essentially, as he lays it out, a gripping story of gradual moral compromises that Sisko makes over the course of the episode. He keeps making these questionable decisions, and they start pretty small, like he has to bribe Quark for something, which isn't something that he usually does. And Quark's very happy. And there's a fun little scene about, with Quark saying, "Oh, I knew you had a little Ferengi in you somewhere," and he's real excited that Sisko is finally not this, moral paragon that he's typically would be in that situation. And then they start getting bigger. He has to make this unethical trade involving biomimetic gel, which is a very controversial,
only controlled by the
substance.
Federation.
Yeah, and Bashir is very wary about letting him do that. Later in the episode, he goes full Darth Vader, basically, and he alters the terms of a deal that he made with this professional forger and changes the agreement that he made with him midway through. And it just gets darker and darker, the compromises that he's willing to make in an attempt to get the Romulans on the side of the Federation in this war. And the way this episode concludes is genuinely haunting, I think. Avery Brooks does what I think is his best acting on the series in this episode. Just an incredible tour de force. That last scene when he's by himself in his quarters, trying to justify to himself what he did and having to live with it. just an incredible moment. Now it's not at the very top for me for a couple of reasons. One is that granted it's not necessarily a great representation of what Star Trek is. It's a pretty anti Gene Roddenberry episode in terms of its outlook. It's much closer to something like the more cynical view of the rebooted Battlestar Galactica.
It's got Ron, what's his name? The
Ron
producer
Moore.
all over it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, it's an episode that I think to fully appreciate the dramatic power of it, you need the context of the rest of Deep Space Nine. Some of these other great episodes, you can watch them and, they're a singular great piece of science fiction on their own terms and it can be a great gateway to Star Trek. This episode, you need to have the context of who Captain Sisko is and the kind of things that he typically stands for, what the Dominion War is and what the stakes are.
We are losing the war.
Yeah, you need all of that to really get the full impact of it. But within the framework of Deep Space Nine, just an undeniably powerful episode of television for me. And yeah, that's my number 3.
Okay. Y'all not going to believe me, so I want to show it right here.
Okay.
That was my number 1 episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Got it right here. Pale. I put pale. You see it. Notes and all. So you guys are not thinking I'm just copying you guys. But the episode is absolutely incredible. I think there should be we could do a whole podcast on it, to me. The moral conundrum is Sisko does something that Starfleet he needs to go to jail.
Yeah.
I don't like it's a war crime. I don't like that they put that little line in there and gave him a reprieve where it's like Starfleet greenlit it. What? Starfleet's greenlighting a plan to forge a meeting between the Dominion to attack Romulus? That's what they're doing. They're greenlighting this. It goes against everything Starfleet stands for. You're right. Gene Roddenberry would be very upset. To me, I wanted the end of DS9 that Sisko needs to pay for what he did personally. And, I guess I'm going to segue into since we're talking about the episode, Mike. I'm just going to do my number 1 right here. So, it's like you said, his log, he's going through the entire log. So what started the whole episode? Beta Z gets invaded. He wakes up and there's a great line. He's like, bad news usually comes at night. Beta Z, which is Deanna Troy's home planet, is invaded by Jem'Hadar. Just think about that for a second. Like, what did they do to Beta Z? The Jem'Hadar are ruthless. I mean, they're the most ruthless fighting force. I mean, and they're on a Federation planet. So I don't think they conveyed. It should have been a 2-parter. They didn't convey the seriousness of that to drive Sisko to bring the Romulans into the war. Okay, but so getting on the high points, they come up with who does he deal with the whole episode? Garrick, right?
Yeah.
And
it's a great Garrick episode. You'd think of it as like, oh, this is a great Sisko episode, but it's a great Garrick episode as well.
It's Garrick's best episode to me.
Yeah.
I think it's Sisko and Garrick's best episode. And you see how great Garrick is as far as like a spy. I love this scene where he's like, Sisko asked him to infiltrate Cardassia Prime and find the plans. And he's like, well, I asked 5 operatives to check on it. He's like, well, what did they find? He's like, they're all dead. And Sisko's like, what? He's like, yeah, they're all dead from 24 hours of talking to me. He's like, you got to give it to Dominion security. And Sisko's like, okay, whatever. And he starts to walk off. And Garrick's like, wait a minute. I thought we had more at stake here. You basically told me the Alpha Quadrant itself was at stake. Okay. And so basically, okay, yeah, you're right. So he gets the data rod. They film the thing. Tollard is the guy that the guy that creates the Holo program, and they get Senator Vreenak, who I love this actor. I think he's been in 300.
He's in a lot of stuff.
He's in Watchmen. Is he he's the original Night Owl, I believe, in
right?
Watchmen.
Yeah.
So he plays.
His name's on the tip of my tongue, but he's a really good character actor. Pops up all over. McCaddy, Stephen McCaddy. That's it. Yeah.
He plays Senator Vreenak in this episode. And so Garrick says, you need to bring Senator Vreenak here to let me show you this recording of basically the Dominion saying we're going to attack Romulus. And he's obviously Vreenak is sitting there. They got a great exchange with him and Cisco. They're drinking. Should be Romulan ale, but it's something else. I don't know.
It's imitation Romulan ale. Like he's tried to
Oh.
approximate it, and he keeps making comments about,
He's
well,
like,
it's not bad, you know.
And the actor's so freaking good. He's like, the aroma is starting to grow on me. You could tell he likes Cisco.
Yeah.
He likes Cisco. The freaking Romulan is growing on Cisco's growing on him. And he gives him the data ride, and then the incredible hook at the episode where Cisco's like, here comes the moment. Is the Romulans going to be with us or not? The door opens, and Vreenak goes, "It's a fake."
That is such a good moment, and you can just feel Cisco's heart dropping down into his stomach as he's hearing that, because he knows, like he lays out before then, that's not just the end of his career, it's potentially the end of the war for the Federation.
They're gonna go.
Everything falls
They're
apart.
joining the Dominion.
Yeah,
we just war crime. It's a fake. Brilliant acting.
Yeah.
Brilliant acting. So what happens? Cisco's like, he's like, well, what can you do after bad news? You just carry on with your day. And then 2 days later, Worf comes in. Bloop. We just got word from Starfleet security that a Romulan shuttle carrying a senator has exploded. And Cisco looks. He knows. He knows. Takes off after the door, opens the door, goes to Garrick's Taylor. Boom! Slaps Garrick. You killed him, didn't you? You killed him. And then Garrick's defending is like, yeah, I killed him. And that's what was his thing. He said, you knew it was never going to pass inspection. He's like, I thought Tolar was going to be good enough up to the task, but the ultimate plan was I was going to blow him up. So when the Tal Shiar investigates the rod, they got a dead senator in one hand and this broken rod from the wreckage in the other. And what happens is the Romulans join the war against the Dominion. And like you said, it ends with Cisco basically like, I can live with it. I can live with it. I can live with it.
What's so powerful to me about that ending is he says, because I can live with it, twice.
Yeah.
And the first time he says it, it's with this complete confidence, like and I'm not going to try and imitate Avery Brooks' performance, but you know, he basically says, because I can live with it. And then when he says it again, there's some doubt in his voice, like he's trying to convince himself, like, because that's I can live with it.
That's the moment that this episode, we did not get an end right here that I want.
Yeah,
this episode didn't. This arc didn't get tied up like I wanted it to. Honestly, Cisco should answer for, and then it ends with this incredible ending. Computer, delete that entire log.
Yeah.
Episode.
Wow. Goosebumps every time.
Everything out.
Yeah.
Delete that entire log. Because he got away with murder. He got away with conspiracy. He got away with whatever. Name them, all the crimes. That biopneumatic gel, that could have been an episode.
Yeah.
O'Brien says the only people that need biopneumatic gel are trying to do weapons of mass destruction or genetic alteration. That's why the Federation controls it. And he gave it to somebody we don't even know.
That's the part that it would be easiest to trace back to him, because Bashir basically says, so I'm protesting this. I'm complaining to Starfleet. I'm taking this up the chain. So
that's why they gave him that. They got Cisco off the hook by saying they greenlit the plan.
Yeah.
Which I hate.
The good thing for Cisco is nobody came after him the way he goes after Eddington.
You're right. Eddington just wanted to live in a planet, not under Starfleet's rule.
Yeah, he just wanted to live his life.
Right. He wanted to be married. And Cisco, another moment, look, and I don't know if anybody's got that episode, but there's the moment where he poisons a planet in that episode.
Yeah.
He poisons the planet. Picard would kill the man. But Picard would freaking destroy Cisco for doing that. To me, it's great Star Trek, though. Like, I love it. To me, I wish they would. That should have been the movie, Okay, yeah. So Pale Moonlight.
Mike, have you done a number 3 yet?
I'm going to do my number 3 right now. It's another Deep Space Nine episode. It has nothing to do with the Dominion. It is a Jake Sisko episode called The Visitor.
Yes.
Oh, man, I love this one.
First off, R.I.P. Tony Todd, who is incredible in this episode.
Yeah.
He was known for being Kern, being Worf's brother.
Yep.
But this is the episode that really, to me, like I watch it and I'm just, it moved to tears. Like and I was never a huge Jake Sisko fan. I was never a fan of the kids on the show, like Wesley Crusher or Jake Sisko. But first off, I want to say, Jake Sisko, was he the worst dressed character on Star Trek?
I
He
disagree.
always had those awful, like, onesie type things on.
I disagree. Wesley Crusher was way worse.
But this episode, for those of you who might not have seen it, basically the Defiant, there's always stuff with the wormhole on the episode. The Defiant's looking at something at the wormhole. Something happens with the warp core. Of course, the people down there are injured. Sisko goes down there to help out. Jake follows him for some reason. He said, usually I would have just did what my dad said, stay in my room, not bother, but this day I followed him. So Sisko fixes everything. You're like, okay, everything's good. And then this bolt of energy comes out of the warp core and basically, for all we know, kills Sisko in front of his son, in front of Jake.
Right.
And Jake's having to live with this. He's an 18-year-old kid, and he's just seen his dad pass away before his eyes. So then going from there is basically Jake kind of mourning around the starship, or the Deep Space Nine, and everyone's showing empathy to him. Even Quark, is like showing empathy to Jake. And eventually, it gets to a point where even they want to get everyone off of Deep Space Nine. There's a point they get to where to get everyone off of Deep Space Nine there. And it's a funny moment because Jake's like, I don't want to go. And Kira's like, oh, you don't have to go. And Worf is like, you need to leave. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to it, the episode then goes to an older Jake Sisko, which is played by Tony Todd. He's an old man at this point. This young girl shows up at his door named Melanie. She shows up, and he's, as you know, throughout the series, he liked writing. So he had written a book called Anselm. And she was a big fan of it. She's like, oh, I read it twice in one night, when a friend showed me. So she wants to ask him about his dad and stuff like that. And he's like, any other night, he's like, if you had come yesterday,
right,
if you'd come a week before, I'd have said no. But tonight, I'll talk to you. So the reason for that is throughout time, he had seen his dad. So I think it seems like it's a couple weeks later or maybe a month later when after it first happened, Sisko shows up and he's there for a couple seconds.
Right.
And then it would keep a little bit further on, and each time he would show up, it would be for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. Right. And he doesn't age in these moments. Like Sisko's the exact same age he
Captain
is.
Sisko is the same.
Right.
So he keeps showing up every few years. So what this is, they basically, let me look at my notes. So it comes to the point the older Jake realizes what he has to do is he has to die while his dad is there.
Right. He's like pulling him through time kind of thing, right?
He's basically, it's a tether. He's a tether.
Right.
To his dad. So, and I'll go back a little bit. Each time his dad shows up, he's a little bit older. So he comes back at one point and Jake is married. And then he comes back again. He's like, well, now I'm not married because I'm trying to get you back.
Right. I wasted my life.
Yeah. And you see Nog. And there's even a funny thing with Nog where, Ferengi, the female Ferengi, chewed up the food and spit it into the mouth of the male Ferengi. The Jake's wife jokes, she's like, I bet you'd like for me to chew up the food and spit it in your mouth too, or whatever. And he's like, no, I got much better with the ladies after not asking them to do that. But it keeps going forward from that. And then we're at the point where Melanie's there. He's telling her the story of everything that's happened. And then she leaves and he falls asleep. And next thing you see is Captain Sisko's just sitting there staring at his son who is obviously at this point a lot older than he is. but he's just staring because he loves his son, even though he's only seen him these a few times. And then and Tony Todd wakes up, Jake Sisko wakes up, and he tells his dad, he's like, I realize what it is. You're stuck to me. The tether is me. And he's like, I have to die with you here for this to end. So he tells him, he's like, Dad, remember this. When you get back, there's an energy bolt that's going to come through. You need to die. You need to jump away. And it cuts to then Tony died. And next thing you see is Captain Sisko at the warp core, and he literally split second realizes, oh God, and he jumps, Jake, and saves the day. And everything Jake Sisko's whole life for that whole time disappears, like, because he's not, that timeline never happened now. And that's kind of a story between of my top 4. Hard time, 20 years, that didn't really happen for O'Brien. This is a whole lifetime that didn't happen for Jake.
Yeah, to me, I think we just lost Clark.
Hold
on 1 second. Clark, you all right, buddy? Okay, let's see if we can get him back. Okay, so
during this episode, I said, you get some funny moments. Like I said, the Nog episode or Nog part's funny. Worf, I'm telling you, that scene with Worf just cracks me up because Worf's just like, leave.
Well, here's the question I have for you. Like, I think about stuff like this. So the future Sisko's been eliminated. Did we win the war? They don't really explain that. Are we under Dominion rule? I would have liked to had a few little well, we won the war even without Sisko. Can we do it without Sisko?
I mean, I'm assuming they won the war since Jake Sisko is happily on Earth.
Right, but you never know. We might be under Dominion rule. Maybe why you taking
that, and I don't think Dominions would have let them do this, but I don't know.
But you get what I'm saying. That's the idea that I was like, okay, so Sisko's not in this timeline. We still win the war. I mean, he's not that important, obviously. So,
well, yeah, it's like something else happened. I guess somebody else committed a war crime.
Right. Okay, you want me? Oh, here he is. He's back. Oh no, I got you back, Clark.
Okay, you got me back now?
Yes.
I think my internet went out briefly. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
It's been going in and out the past few days, and AT&T is supposed to come out later, but they haven't yet.
I know. If we can get through 2 hours without some kind of internet issue on this end, I'll be happy. But you missed what I said to Mike about that episode. I think you would find it interesting. It's like, so basically, it's a timeline episode. Sisko is eliminated from the timeline. It looks like we won the war anyway, the Dominion War. It looks like, or if we didn't, Dominion rule isn't so bad.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They let Jake just live on Earth happily in New Orleans.
Yeah. So I would have liked a little, especially when the Dominion War is so important. I would have liked something. Yeah, we are, even with, but to me, it. Like, I love the episode. But to me, it makes Sisko not as important because he's eliminated from time, and we end up still successful in the war. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that Mike included this one because this is one I really wanted to make room for on the top 5, and I couldn't quite squeeze it in. But it's an episode that I love, and one of the things that I love about it is Sisko's kind of brief performance throughout it when he shows up, the different ways in which he responds to his son. At first he's like so happy he sees him, married. He talks about how he wants grandchildren, and he's just so proud of him. And then that evolves into concern. Still very loving, but concern as he's like, seeing his son squander his entire life, trying to fix this thing
with bringing him.
Yeah. And he's like, this isn't what I wanted for you. What happened to your writing? What happened to your family? All this stuff. And it's a very moving
Starfleet is dangerous. Everybody knows it. It's a dangerous entity. Your chances of dying on a starship is I like that moment with they're like, hey, Data's the only one out there. Do you think we really need him on a starship? It's like, but
he might turn his off switch off and
oh God, I hate the off switch. That was with the little game, right? I bet you nobody put that episode in there with the little
Well, they had to put the off switch on Data, or else he would have saved every episode. Like they had to do something to eliminate Data in certain episodes.
So you're saying Data's unstoppable?
I mean, he's pretty awesome.
Whenever he needs to take over the Enterprise, he takes it over with no problem whatsoever. Yeah. And makes a code 75671 It's like,
so he's like Superman in the Justice League animated show, where they keep having to like sideline him midway through so that everybody else can fight the battle. Yeah.
Well,
Superman has kryptonite, Data has an off switch.
Mike had a very similar character in DS9, Dax, Curzon Dax.
God. Everyone knew Curzon Dax.
Talk about Curzon Dax for a minute, Mike.
Oh my gosh, that was what annoyed me most about the Deep Space Nine, was the fact that they would go anywhere. There's like 8 billion planets. They'd go to a planet and they'd be like, "Hey, this."
Oh, I know Curzon.
This is Jadzia Dax, and they're like, "Oh, I knew Curzon Dax," and I'm like, "How did everyone know Curzon?"
Three of the historic Klingons, Core and the other Dahara Master, they all knew Dax. They fought with Curzon, Core, and what was the other one? He had an episode.
Cisco was his best friend.
When Worf is being introduced to Deep Space Nine in what's it, Day of the Warrior? Way of the Warrior, that episode. He meets Jadzia and is like, "Oh, Curzon, a story name among the Klingon people." All the Klingons know all about Curzon.
Mike is so right about this. It didn't matter where they went, they knew who Curzon freaking Dax. They went to the Gamma Quadrant and knew who Curzon Dax was. This guy traveled the universe.
The changelings probably knew who Curzon was.
Absolutely, they knew who he was. Okay.
It would have been funny if Curzon had been somebody like Harry Mudd, who was like swindling people all over the place, and then she's like, "No, that was Curzon. Sorry."
Which Harry Mudd?
Well, either Harry Mudd, but
the Rainn Wilson version.
The Rainn Wilson one's a little darker, but yeah.
Well, that was my number 3, so we're going to number 2 with Clark.
Yeah, because I've already done number 1 for me. So,
okay, number 2. I'm going to go back to the original series for this one. And this is an episode Mike actually mentioned on one of your previous Sci-Frantic installments, which is
number 1.
Okay. City on the Edge of Forever.
That's my number 1.
Yeah, and justifiably so. It's one of the all-time great pieces of science fiction writing on television. In this episode, for those who haven't seen it, basically it starts with Bones accidentally injecting himself with this potent drug, and then in a crazed fury sort of beaming himself down to this mysterious planet. Kirk and Spock go after him, and when they get down to the planet, they discover the Guardian of Forever, which is this sentient portal that can send a person to any time or any place. And Bones is still...
1 second?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
On our Instagram page, I'm going to put pictures of me and Clark jumping through the Guardian of Forever on our Instagram page. Now, Clark doesn't have Instagram. He's too cool for that.
I can't do it.
The rest of you that are watching right now, I got one of me jumping through, and basically what it is, Clark basically had too much caffeine, and I had to chase him through the Guardian of Forever to stop changing the timeline. Sorry,
that
Clark.
Was no. That was a cool little display they put up where you could do those photos. That was fun. But yes, so Bones, who's still afflicted by this drug when they're down on the planet, just jumps through the portal, and in the process, he ends up messing up the timeline so much that he erases the Enterprise from existence. Whatever he's done, it's catastrophic because the Enterprise is no more. Fortunately, the Guardian says that the damage can potentially be repaired, so Kirk and Spock have to go in and travel back to just before Bones did whatever he did so they can fix it. So it sends them back when they go into 1930s New York. And when they're there, they meet Edith Keeler, who's played by Joan Collins, and she runs a local soup kitchen, and she lets Kirk and the crew do some odd jobs for her to make a living while they're working on their mission. And in the process of them trying to figure out how to undo what Bones did and get everything set right, Kirk begins to fall in love with this woman, which is already, off the bat, going to be a complicated situation because she's in 1930s New York. They are from the future. This is not sustainable, but His heart wants what his heart wants. And I almost don't want to spoil where the episode goes from there if people haven't seen it, because
Oh, come on,
It's
Spark.
been
Come
60
on,
years,
Clark.
Clark, if they
okay,
haven't seen
all
it
right,
yet.
all right.
I called you
So-
Spark. Sorry.
Yeah, but basically, to make a long plot synopsis short, it turns out the thing that Bones did that should not have been done, and the thing that they have to set right, is Bones saved this woman's life. He saved her from being hit by a truck in the middle of the street.
So altered time, basically, right?
Yeah, he altered time by doing the decent human heroic thing,
Right.
saving this woman, but it messed up the entire timeline. And when Kirk comes to the realization of that, and the realization that that is what to happen, that this woman that he's fallen in love with, is going to have to die, and he's going to have to, let her die in order to fix everything. It's truly one of the most powerful and upsetting moments in any Star Trek episode. And it's an impossible choice, really, to be placed in that position, to have to choose between saving the life of a person that you love or saving, the future, basically. And
Dude, that scene right there is so upsetting, because when he does it, he's got his head on McCoy's shoulder, and you just see the pain on his face. And McCoy's like, "I could have saved her," and you have Spock. Spock's like, he knows what he did, Jim, or he knows what he did, Bones or whatever.
That's that. And then the last line of the episode is they're trying to get more information on what's happened and what's going on, and when Kirk just kind of coldly says, "Let's get the hell out of here," it's just a gut punch of an ending. But Mike, I want to let you talk about it too, because you said it's your number one. So
I mean, you do a much better job of it, but just a couple things. You mentioned one of the best written episodes. Just to let y'all know, it's written by Harlan Ellison.
Yes.
Okay, who's Harlan Ellison?
Great writer. He actually sued James Cameron for Terminator, because he
it was an Outer Worlds episode.
Yeah,
So,
where
Outer Limits.
I don't know if you know the science fiction short story "I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream." That's one of his. It is
No,
about
Clark, I can't say I've ever heard of that.
It's a great story about an evil computer that wipes out most of humanity except for a few people, and it spends its days torturing those last few people, and they're trying to figure out how to stop that for themselves.
What's the name of it again?
I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream. Great story. But he also wrote a lot of television. He wrote for Babylon 5, a pretty good bit, and
Really?
did some other Star Trek stuff. So yeah, he's kind of a legend in the sci-fi literature and television realm.
Is he still alive?
No.
But he wrote that episode. But you touched on a lot of it. A lot of what I loved about Star Trek, the original series, even in the movies, to this episode, they have to find a way to cover Spock's ears, and it's always got to be like a sock cap.
Yeah.
Or like in the movie, it's like the bandana.
It's not just Spock though. T'Pol had to do it a lot, and Tuvok had to do it.
It's a bleak episode, but there is a good little bit of comedy in there when they're having to try and explain Spock's ears to the cop. And they're trying to come up with all these convoluted excuses, and the cop's like, "All right, whatever."
And the excuses they use probably wouldn't be politically friendly today.
Very much not. They're clearly panicking and coming up with stuff that's meant to be unconvincing, but yeah.
But the whole episode, you have like Spock trying to build this thing, and I forgot what the analogy he uses. He's like, it's trying to build out of Tinker Toys or something like that. I forgot what he says.
Yeah, I forget the line too, but just that it's basically like being sent back to the Stone Age, trying to recreate their equipment in the 1930s. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great episode, and Joan Collins is great. It's such a heartbreaking episode.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot, watching it this time, something about her performance that's kind of amazing. She doesn't show up until 20 minutes into the episode. And
Yeah,
in
because
you know,
they
and there's
tried to board the Enterprise.
yeah, there's only 30 minutes left, and she creates such a well-defined character that you really care about within that 30 minutes. And so it is really, truly, heartbreaking, not just because of how Kirk feels, but
So
because
the
of
episodes are like an hour long?
it's 50 minutes, with the commercials taken out. So yeah, it's an hour-long
Did it
episode.
air as a two-parter back then?
No, it was just a regular single episode of I don't think the original series has. I guess you've got the Cage,
Okay,
parts
so
1 and 2
I was thinking
that
that
they
the
stretched
original
into a
series is the
two-parter.
30-minute episodes, but they're an
No, but
hour.
they're an hour, yeah.
Okay.
But it's a regular episode.
Well,
Wow.
I think all we have left is like my number 2, Walls' number 2,
Yep.
and Clark's number 1.
Yeah.
So, y'all want me to go ahead and do my number 2?
Go for it.
Go for it.
All right. So, since my number 1 is City on the Edge of Forever, number 2, because I want to do mine first, just in case this is y'all's,
Yeah.
Inner Light.
It's my number 1.
Inner
Yeah.
Light. Inner Light.
Yeah, it's a Star Trek Next Generation episode.
I know the episode. It's a beautiful episode.
Yeah.
And Clark, we can do this together. It's basically Inner Light is the episode where they come up on this beacon.
Yeah.
And the beacon basically just kind of it hits Picard. And
Right.
Picard just falls out.
Right.
And next thing he knows, he wakes up and what's his character's name?
Eacham?
It is Cayman.
Cayman, yes.
That's right. He wakes up, Cayman, and he's Cayman, and he's trying to convince them that wait a second, I'm a Starfleet captain. What are y'all talking about? Like he's trying to figure out how he's there, how to get away.
Yeah, he's on this planet called Catan, which is kind of it's a planet that's clearly suffering in a lot of ways. It's sort of starved for resources, and
there's like maybe the sun's going solar, right?
Yeah,
and
causing a drought.
And they
married.
don't have quite as much technological advancement as he is used to.
Right. And so basically, it again, like I said, and this is kind of through all the episodes, like of my top 4. It's about him going through this life, and having a wife, having how many kids? 2 kids?
Yeah, a son and a daughter.
Grandkid. I mean, and a very popular thing that he does during this episode is he learns the it's a Resican flute.
Yes.
Which we actually see in Picard. He actually has it in like a trophy type case.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like you were talking about the O'Brien episode where he lived an entire life, in a small amount of time. Yeah.
Well, I guess this could be about 20 years because Picard's pretty old to begin with, so he gets pretty old during this. But yes, he's on a planet and they're having issues, and you find out that the sun is it the sun's going to burn out, or
it's going solar, definitely.
Yeah,
It's got usually I don't know the science, but when a sun goes nova, it gets really bright and expands and then collapses.
Yeah.
So we definitely see it super bright because they have to put on shades and a hat and stuff because the radiation's very harsh.
So, I mean, and another thing, and this is something I actually read. I didn't realize this. Someone said that there's this part where you hear his son playing the flute. Apparently, the song that his son's playing is the theme song to Picard.
Really?
I didn't know
go
that.
back and listen to it. And when I listened to it, I was like, wow, they're right.
Wow.
So,
Well, the episode is such good sci-fi. It's a dying planet, and they send this basically, what do you call it? A memorial out
like a
into this.
beacon, but yeah, like
It's a probe, but the point of it is to not let our society die without
not let it be
somebody.
forgotten.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not let
so
us be forgotten. And it's such good sci-fi because there's no enemy, there's no evil force behind. He has a best friend. They deal with his. They call it. I guess they think he's delusional because he thinks he's Starfleet. They deal with it. They don't put him in a psych ward. His wife is caring and loving, and eventually time goes by where he forgets Starfleet.
And I think that's the key to why this, at least for me, why this episode is so affecting, is that this community treats him with such kindness and care. Like, it would be very easy to do, like an episode tension thing where like, "You're crazy, man, we need to deal with this."
Yeah, I need to cut,
But
take his
they're
head
very
out.
yeah, they're very patient with him. They're very understand his wife, who has plenty of justification to be really frustrated with the situation she's been put in. She's very patient, and
Picard makes a point
understands.
of mention
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
He mentions that in the episode how great you were in the early years because he was trying to design a way to contact the Enterprise for years or trying to figure out how to contact Starfleet and would go off into the country trying to like I guess get a signal and
yeah,
she would stay at home and he even says that it's like you were a great wife to me when I was at crazy about Starfleet.
yeah,
Well, there's a scene later on in the episode too where Picard kind of argues with the guy who comes around to all the cities, and
Yeah,
his
the leader of the community
yeah,
almost.
yeah,
and his friends like is kind of look at him, and Picard's like, "What?" And he's like, "It's like that's the first time since you've been here that you felt like part of the
You're here, yeah,
community
yeah,
yeah,
instead of an
yeah,
outsider."
right.
yeah. And
Which
so for him to go through that whole life, and it's kind of a reverse mirror image of hard time in a way.
Yeah, it is.
The hard times, this traumatic experience, and this is this beautiful experience, and there's a different kind of pain at the end when you're torn away from all of that and you have to go back to reality.
See, but what it does differently than hard times that I complain about, like I almost think what was his name, Echump, or what was the guy's name, Echar, or there we
from
go, from the
Hard
hard
time.
time. What was his Echar? If we had like if he was saw Echar throughout DS9, I think would have been incredible because Picard deals with this. This is one of those moments that he deals with the entire history of TNG. There's an episode where he's playing the flute
he plays in
on the
like a duet with somebody.
with
Yeah,
the lady. It's almost they give them a relationship and they play a little duet out that they find a moment in the with Jeffrey's tubes together. It's like it's a beautiful moment. And like you just said, it's big in Picard. I think he teaches somebody how to play it. If I remember in one episode,
I know he has a flute like in a trophy case. I don't remember him. Maybe he teaches somebody.
I thought maybe he taught the android in Picard. I didn't watch that show a lot, but that's one of those moments that the total opposite of the Borg encounter or hard time, where, like Clark said, it's a beautiful moment that stays with the character, the history of the show.
yeah.
Great choice. Great
I,
choice.
I think the only thing we have left is your number two, Walls, unless
Yeah.
Inner Light was your number two.
Well, if we're going to end on this one, we'll end on this one. So my last episode is Take Me Out to the Holosuite.
Nice.
Yeah, that's two Holosuite episodes.
I know, and I don't even like Holosuite episodes, but I love this episode. I remember watching it when it come on WGN. I don't know, probably 99. It's just think of a young man living in Atlanta and obsessed with the Braves. DS9 pulls out an episode about baseball, and what does Jake Sisko wearing? An Atlanta Braves hat.
Hmm.
I mean, it's wonderful, and it's like y'all were saying. Yeah, we do all these grim episodes, Pale Moonlight, and Wounded, and the holodeck episode with Nog lost a leg. This episode was just pure happiness for the crew.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the Dominion War. Here's the story synopsis. This racist Vulcan who is on a starship called Tomoka or something like that, an entire a Vulcan crew. Like, how could Starfleet even allow this to happen? You're gonna have a starship that just has Vulcans on it. Like you can't no. So you have this Vulcan, what's his name? Tolar? I don't know. I don't know. See, I think I wrote his name down. I can't think of his name, but him and Cisco went to Starfleet Academy together, and Cisco allegedly challenged him to a wrestling match, and he wiped the floor with Cisco, broke his leg or something, and he's like, "Yeah." And I remember Cassidy Yates, Cisco's, it's like, "You attacked a Vulcan, they're like stronger than us." He's like 3 times stronger than us, and he's holding the bat, and he's like, "And they're fast too."
Solok.
So
Solok is the name of the Vulcan.
Solok. So Solok is basically shows up to DS9 to antagonize Cisco. He even talks about how he's got 2 Christopher Pike Medals of Valor versus Cisco's 1. You know, he jokes about how they've been at the front line for 6 months, and Cisco's like, "Well, this is no Porter Harbor either." So he walks out of Cisco's office saying, "Hey, by the way, I've created this holodeck program, American Baseball from Earth." And it ends with them challenging the DS9 crew versus an all Vulcan baseball team. And it's such an incredible episode because when you're watching it, you see how dynamic baseball is. Just think about the terms: pop fly, sack, go home, home run, grand slam. You have to know all this terminology. And the DS9 crew, Bashir's like, "What's a fancy Dan?" Fancy Dan. It's when you basically show off, you know, and then later on in the episode, Ezri does this flip and he's like, "That's a fancy Dan," you know. But then what do? You throw Worf into the mix, you know. He's like, "Find them and, you know, deaf to the opposition." You know, they're like, "Hey, batter, hey, batter," and he's like, "Deaf to the opposition," you know. And it's just the cast it's just a sweet episode because Rom's in it, and he wants to be on the team, but he's dog crap when it comes to being an athlete. And he's like, I can't play. And Cisco's like, "That's the first thing you said this right. You can't play." And he kicks him off the team, which the whole crew gets mad about. But Rom's like, no, I want y'all to win, which you're not going to win. They're playing Vulcans, you know, hand-eye coordination through the Wazang, you know. But the episode goes along where they play baseball. Odo is the umpire. Shows them in there practicing, learning the lingo, out safe, you know, stuff like that. And the baseball game's going on. There's awesome little moments where a Vulcan doesn't touch home base. And Odo's like, and Nog's like, what? And O'Brien's like, he didn't hit home plate, Rom. And they're like, well, he's like, "What'd I do?" And then Worf goes, "Find him and kill him." So they go find him, and you know, it's an out, and it's a beautiful moment. And Rom, at this point, Cisco's kicked out of the game for touching Odo. You can't touch the umpire. And he's out there, he's in the stand with Rom, who's watching, and it's a nice little moment where they bring Rom in for a pinch hit at the end of the game. It's 0-10, by the way. The Vulcans are wiping the floor with the Niners. That's what they're called, the Niners. Yeah. And they're like, "Hey, let's do that bunt." And Rom accidentally bunts the ball, which scores the only run they have. And they celebrate like the Bad News Bears, because it's a very Bad News Bears episode. They celebrate like the Bad News Bears, like they won the World Series. And it ends with the Vulcans like, "I don't know why you're trying to manufacture triumph." And he's, you know, Cisco's like, "To manufacture triumph." And they start like heckling the Vulcan. And the Vulcan's like, "I'm not going to delve into this human bickering." And it's like Quark's like, with all that intelligence, and he don't know what a human looks like, because they're not human. There's Bajorans on the team, there's Ferengi on the team, there's Klingons on the team, you know, and you got this basically this racist Vulcan who hates humans for some reason. I don't know why he hates humans, playing against a very diverse Niners team. So yeah, I think it's just a fun episode.
It is.
In fact, Max Grodenchek apparently is really good at baseball, and they had to they made his character the one that's like really bad.
That is such BS. You made that up.
Very funny.
Fun fact.
Did you make that up?
I didn't make that up.
Did you make that up?
I mean, it might be wrong, but I read it.
Where did you read that? There's no way this guy's good at baseball. Claire hates Rom. I don't know. He's got his good episodes. Yeah. She's like, "Huh? What?" He's like, "What?" She's like, "Why did Lita marry this goober?"
One of the funniest things in all the Treks is anytime he says "Moogie." That cracks me up every time he says it.
He's so bad, but he's so good at the same time. But you know, it's a good Rom episode. So, you know, that's what DS9 did. DS9 did great alien episodes. You know,
and the actor who plays him, Max Grodenchek, maybe the sweetest guy out of all the Star Trek people I've met. Just an incredibly nice.
You know, and you know, we lost Nog. Obviously, he passed away.
Yeah,
which he was very nice. But you're right. I think we did the what did we do? The Rat Pack thing.
The Rat Pack.
Yeah. Yeah, they were trying out new songs, which I recommend any Star Trek fan do. You got the Damar, Casey Biggs, you got Wyum. Oh my
We
God.
saw them in Las Vegas too, right?
We
Didn't
did,
we?
we did, and Jeffrey Combs was with them in Las Vegas. He might have been with them in Atlanta
He
too.
was
He
with
was.
them in
Was.
Atlanta.
Don't
Yeah.
you remember we were at that Weston
Uh,
bar and I think we were playing a board game,
We're
wasn't we?
playing a card game.
We were playing a card game, and wasn't they sitting at the bar drinking?
We were
yeah,
sitting at a table.
I remember after the concert, we were walking down the street. I don't know if we were walking to our hotel or where we were going, but we were walking down the street, and Grodenchek was passing us, and he was like carrying his guitar case or whatever musical instrument he had with him. And I remember I just said, "Hey, you guys did a great show," and he like stopped and he turned around and he got the biggest grin on his face and he goes, "Thank you." He was like so happy.
I've only seen him in one other movie,
Really
Sister
nice guy.
Act. Sister Act. That's the only thing I've ever seen him in.
My mom is the biggest Rat Pack fan. I purchased the Deep Space Nine documentary. What's it called?
What We Leave Behind?
What We Leave Behind. And they play Rat Pack stuff during that, and she loves it. And so when we met Jeffrey Combs at Mad Monster Party earlier in 2025, literally that's what I told Jeffrey Combs. I was like, "You, this is the biggest Rat Pack fan," and he was like, of course, kind of like we do here. We're like, "Oh, you subscribe, like, comment, subscribe." He was like, "Go to the webpage. We're selling a CD. Buy the CD."
Yeah, and they definitely, those four guys seem to love that Rat Pack stuff. They get to perform. They get to perform to people that already love them. I mean, I'm sure it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's funny, we didn't mention any Jeffrey Combs episodes.
Well, he's in in the Pale Moonlight a little bit because he's on the recording that they have to.
But that's really not him, though, right?
Not him. Well,
it's a recording.
There's so, and I feel bad too. There's a lot of good Voyager episodes. I would have liked to have snuck one in there, but
let's see.
Space for it.
So to put Hollow Pursuits on. Let's see, where is it at? I don't know if y'all can read that.
Do you have it on there?
Year of Hell 1 and 2.
That's a great one.
That was my number 5.
Great episode, but you're right. That's a depressing episode.
Another depressing episode. I was like, I have to put a happy one on here.
See, I'll tell you the only episode I was thinking of on Voyager.
Okay.
It was I think it's Tinker Tailor Doctor or something
Tenor.
like that.
Doctor, yeah. Tenor.
Yeah, Tinker Tailor, Dr. Tenor.
It's the one where he's like kind of losing his mind a little bit, and they go on the holodeck to see what the doctor sees, because the trash aliens are like spying on him or whatever, the junkie or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And they watch his dreams basically, and like, Jesus, this doctor's the emergency command hologram. He gets the little pip that shows up, and Janeway's like, nice touch. But there's a beautiful moment in that episode, man, where Janeway and them are like, they're making fun of him because he's getting celebrated with a medal or something. And Janeway turns around to walk off, and he goes, I love you guys. I do this because I love my crew and I want to take care of my crew, and y'all are my crew. And I do this for y'all. And she turns around and looks at it. She's the only one that sees that scene. And it clicks to her that the doctor, just like I was telling you, how these holograms have a soul. And the doctor, Vic Fontaine was there at the beginning. The doctor definitely took it to the next level as far as the character goes. And he's my favorite part of Voyager, and it is a beautiful little moment that Janeway has with him. And
there's another Voyager episode I really like that I wanted to include, but I just couldn't make space for it over the others. Counterpoint. That's the one. It's kind of a game of cat and mouse between Janeway and basically this space Nazi who's
that's a holodeck episode.
No, it's not a holodeck episode. He's coming on basically to investigate her ship for any telepaths, and
that's the guy with the beautiful hair.
Yeah, that guy. and
yeah,
they're kind of sizing each other up the whole episode. Their relationship dynamic keeps changing, whether they're allies or enemies, what each of them is trying to accomplish, and it's
there's
just
sexual intrigue between the two.
There is that, and it's just so smartly written and genuinely surprising the way that plays out.
How does it end? I can't remember. Did he end up? He's the bad guy in the end,
Yeah,
right?
he ends up betraying her, and
But she
then
knew it was going to happen,
she
though.
knew it was gonna happen, and she's got she's got a well, that's
Well,
how he
wait a
plays
minute.
at the very
During the
beginning.
episode, he says, "I want to be
Yeah.
against my
Yeah.
Nazi-ness."
So it starts out with him basically being a space Nazi, and then he's
Right.
like, "No, I'm trying to escape from these people. I wanna do the right thing. I know this is terrible. You know, let me into your camp and, let me escape with you." And they
Mike,
come
do
up
you
with
know
a
who
whole
the actor is? It's
I
Davis
reckon
from Wings.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Remember
Yeah,
Helen Chapel's boyfriend?
yeah.
Yeah, that's who the actor is, and he's great in it.
Yeah. And they use all this classical music in the episode, and there's kind of conversations between them about, the idea of counterpoint and a melody playing on top of another melody, and their performances kind of reflecting that. It's just a
Beautiful.
cool,
I
fun
love that
episode.
episode,
Yeah.
Clark. I never would have
Really good
thought of that one. I love that episode. Another Voyager episode that I really like is the Omega Omega Protocol, where they run up on a molecule called the Omega molecule, and when the starship detects this, it shuts down everything. Like, it's so bad for subspace. And basically, they have a directive where if they encounter the Omega particle, they have to destroy it. And the Borg obviously think it's perfect, So the whole episode is a fight between Janeway and 709 about keeping the Omega particle and using it or utilizing. And she's like, no. So basically, if the mega particle destabilizes, it destroys all of subspace, which destroys space travel. You can't create a warp barrier
Yeah.
and go to warp. So
I thought it made everything go back 13 seconds in time. Sorry, that's Galaxy
different
Quest.
different Star Trek movie, Galaxy Quest. But for all you know, they used the mega particle in that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you have any you got any mentions, Mike?
Like we were texting earlier, like there's so many, like I felt bad I didn't have a Q episode, or I didn't have a Ferengi episode, the Nagus episode, the Grand Nagus episode. Like, God, that's a great episode.
Brunt episode.
Yesterday's Enterprise, something you had mentioned.
So here's the deal. We're gonna do a mirror. We got to do a top like 3 mirror episode. We didn't name any mirror universe episodes.
Well, and if it's okay to mention one that I think the best episode or best 2 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise is In a Mirror Darkly. Parts 1 is like, I think that might be the best mirror universe episode because
I don't know, those Kira Nerys episodes are pretty good.
They are really good, but I think the benefit
The
Inquisitor.
Yeah. Some good episodes on Deep Space Nine. I think the mistake, and it's odd to me that both the original series and TNG made this mistake, is they did their first big mirror universe episode right at the beginning, before you could really, show a lot of contrast with these characters that you know and love. It's like, okay, we're
TNG. TNG doesn't have a mirror universe episode.
It doesn't? In the first season?
Yesterday's Enterprise should be a mirror universe episode.
Hold on. What is the hold on, TNG Mirror Universe episode? I could have sworn there was one.
Is where it has the great scene where what was it, Riker? The other Riker is like, no, don't destroy us.
No, that's
You're
that's
right.
the episode where Worf.
Oh, that's another episode.
Parallel.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking of.
Yesterday's Enterprise is where the Enterprise C comes back through. To me, it's a mirror universe episode. I would say it's the only mirror universe episode in TNG, because this Enterprise C comes through and we're losing to the Klingons, which is what we do in the mirror universe. We lose to the Klingons, and the Enterprise, we got to send the Enterprise C back with Tasha Yar. That's yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah.
Parallels
like
is
3,
where
the
Worf is experiencing all the different what do you call it? Oh my God, universes. What do you call it? Parallel dimensions. Parallel dimensions. And one dimension is where Riker's like, the Borg are everywhere. We won't go back.
I don't want to go back.
We won't go back. It's like it's really kind of sad, actually, because the Borg is taking over.
I mean, another great episode, TNG episode, Measure of a Man.
Oh yeah,
data. I mean, that's a great episode.
Okay, so Paramount Plus has a recommended or iconic episodes.
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed that.
I did.
I didn't want to go with any of those. And I tried not, and it was hard because that was one of them. Measure Man is so good. But not saying they shouldn't be on there. They are iconic episodes. Yesterday's Enterprise was an iconic episode. But I was kind of trying to think outside the box a little bit. And,
That's good though, because otherwise we'd all, have the same stuff.
See, that's it. I knew we would have. Now, I think it's good we had a few the same. Like, I never dreamed you would pick Pale Moonlight. I never would have dreamed that.
I just, it was one that the first time I saw it, I was just so struck by it, and each time I've gone back to it, it hasn't lost an ounce of its power.
Well, it's on that list of iconic episodes, though.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What was the name of the Voyager episode you just missed? I want to watch that.
Counterpoint.
Counterpoint.
Okay. That's a really fun
one.
Cool. Yeah, and there are a lot of. I know that a lot of the newer Star Trek stuff isn't as good, but there have been some decent episodes, scattered throughout all of that, and maybe at some point we can kind of go through some of those. But
I mean,
I would like to do that because it would
Lower Decks.
It would force me to watch it, and that's kind of what the whole start of this was. We were going to watch Starfleet Academy and discuss it. Which
have y'all watched it yet? I haven't seen it yet.
I've watched both episodes.
Okay.
Well, what do you think?
I'm
that bad, huh? That bad.
New Trek is so divisive because if you say you don't like it, you're, a gatekeeper or you're racist or misogynist or whatever. If you say you do like it, you're woke. It is like you can't. There's no winning whether you like it or don't like it.
So
I personally, I thought it was better than I expected. I expected it to be for teenagers the way that poster was. I thought it was going to be 90210 for Star Trek. It actually turned out pretty good. I really like Giamatti is crazy during it. I liked him. The Jim Hadar, who I thought I was going to hate because I didn't think, I was like, why would a Jim Hadar be here? Actually turned out to be really cool. I actually liked the Jim Hadar, and they explain how she could be there.
Right.
The one thing that bothered me, and it's a small thing, but it really did bother me. Holly Hunter's character, who I can't remember her name right now, but they have this captain's chair that looks like a love seat. I mean, it's huge. And she's like laying down on it, like reading a book and all this other stuff. And it's like, to me, a captain is authoritative. Like, you're supposed to come in there and, I'm not going to say you're supposed to be scared, but you know that this person is in charge of everything. If you go in there, she looks like she's a kindergarten teacher, like while everybody's taking a nap. Like, she's in there like reading her book and all that. And I didn't like that, but that's a small thing.
That's kind of surprising too, because Holly Hunter, in other parts, she can really play, she's a tiny little person, but she can be, imposing, determined, intimidating. There's some of her roles where I think of her as almost like, one of those tiny little dogs that won't let go of a bone and is just ferocious, but
and she plays a character. I don't forget what alien race it is, but apparently they live a really long time, and she's like, I think she's supposed to be like hundreds of years old or something like that.
So to me, Star Trek, right, is it's a job, right? You sign up to be in Starfleet. To get to a captain level, it takes experience. Yeah. And I think that's the problem I have with a lot of
captain. I mean, she's aboard the ship, and they do have to do something against Giamatti's ship. But literally, they're just going to San Francisco to dock and be a school. Well, so she might not be
kind of segue, and I was
she's supposed to be.
I was telling Claire that we were trying to watch Alien Romulus again, and it's like it's just these kids, and it's like the thing that made Alien great was it was full of workers, middle-aged, middle-class workers.
Yeah.
That were, and Starfleet is supposed to be the best of the best. You don't become a freaking captain. One of the problems I had with Star Trek Beyond was they kind of did the same thing they did in Wrath of Khan, where Kirk is like upset he's getting old. He's 50 years old. And it's like Bones is like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are we treating your birthday like a funeral? And he's like, I don't want to be lectured, Bones. Beyond does the same similar scene, but Pine is like 28 years old. It's not believable, man. I'm sorry. I would like to see Star Trek return to, I hate to use the word older, but seasoned. veterans, like if you're going to be a captain of a space station, just like if you're the captain of a cruise ship, you're going to be seasoned and a little older, not these teenagers. And hey, it's Starfleet Academy. I get that. They're children, but like I felt like that would like the show you Bold Best of Bold or whatever it's called, Bold New World. Everybody
Strange New
seems so
World.
young. It's just like, and I get it. It's a game for the young now, but dude, when we were growing up, Picard seemed so stoic and so like grandfatherly, with the way he handled things, and he was so wise. And I wish Star Trek would kind of get back to that old, wise error.
There's another scene in it that's just kind of silly and stupid too, because you think like Wesley Crusher served aboard the Enterprise and then finally got into Starfleet. Like he was seasoned before
And
even
let's
going.
be honest, he was hated though. He's absolutely hated by the fans.
He was hated by fans. So you go to the Starfleet Academy, and in the first episode, this one of the cadets goes up to the doctor, and she's like, "I swallowed my comm badge," and the doctor's like, "Again?" And I'm like,
God. You're supposed to be the best and the
"You're
brightest.
supposed to be like the best of the best."
Yeah,
Right.
I like Ralph Wiggum going to Starfleet Academy.
And that's the problem with it. They like you don't just get into Starfleet Academy. You have to have Captain Sisko sign a document to go out on a limb to get Nog into it. And he even explained to Sisko's like, look, I'm going to get you in. I'm putting my neck out for you, but it's hard work. And they treat Star Trek now as just like it's Star Wars in space. It's space.
The excuse that they'll use for this, and I haven't read it, but I'm sure that they will, because this is basically they're rebuilding Starfleet Academy, because after the burn, there wasn't a Starfleet Academy, so they're kind of starting Starfleet.
Okay, I don't know what the burn is. What's the burn?
It's from Discovery.
Yeah, the big.
So basically, they destroyed the world and everything with it.
It's where Michael Burnham, basically saves everybody.
Jeez. So this is Kirkman Trek, it is, and I'm trying to be positive.
New World has been pretty good. I've enjoyed Strange New Worlds, and I loved Lower Decks. So it's not all been bad. I think Discovery, just especially those last two seasons, were.
Let me ask you. Obviously we're at a time right now where Kathleen Kennedy's stepping down from Star Wars. Kirkman's probably not soon behind. Who was you said Ronald Moore? Why doesn't he take over like Berman did?
Well, he's been busy with his other, like he did Outlander was like his big thing for a while, and then he did what's the sci-fi show on Apple? Foundation. He's been doing that, so he's kind of doing his own thing.
They give him a blank check.
Sure,
you are the head of Star Trek, like Berman was. Say what you want about Rick Berman. After Roddenberry died, he was very he protected Trek.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of negatives to him because Voyager should have been. There's no reason Voyager should be repaired every episode. They're 70,000 light years away. It should have literally Year of Hell should have been what Voyager was.
Right.
Like limping back into Starfleet at the end of it, barely hanging in there. You know what I mean? But that was never going to be what Berman wanted them to do. Like it was like every episode, Voyager's going to be fine.
Well, apparently, wasn't that supposed to be like a season-long arc, the Year of Hell thing? And then they said, no, we got to cut it down.
Berman didn't like it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it. They wanted to do it. Oh God, we just talked about him. But how is this guy not taking over Star Trek? He wrote episodes for TNG, did a lot, basically made DS9. It's like, dude, you could make a whole new world, and no pun intended, of Star Trek. And the fans would probably love it. So
I will say Starfleet Academy did have one scene that made me laugh out loud, and I mean that for real. The Jim-Atard's something's happened, she's gotten stabbed or something, and then she's happy like once everything's been fixed, and I don't know, whoever saved the day or whatever, and she punches the Klingon guy, like not really punches, but like pushes or whatever, and he goes flying because apparently she's like super strong.
Yeah.
And he hits the ground, and then off screen, like he's not on screen, all you see is the Jim-Adar and somebody else. You just hear, ow. I just started laughing. I was like, and they do a good job of explaining why the Klingon wanted to join
Starfleet.
And why he's not like all Klingons are warriors. Worf was a warrior. he's not like, and they do a good job of explaining it.
Yeah.
That brings me
there are
up.
parts I really like. There's just some really stupid parts too.
And that seems to be what I hear from new Star Trek from everybody. Is there's parts I like, but nothing's great. Nothing's great, and it's
I had to
I
watch
thought
it because Paul
and I brought up into Andor earlier. I think Andor is absolutely amazing television. I love everything about it. I don't want to really discuss it in depth here, but as far as Star Wars goes, holy shit, I love it. I thought Andor was phenomenal. And I think it will be.
I watched the first season and I really liked it, but I need to finish it.
Season 2, Clark, man. It's a slow burn though, man. You got to like, I like what Jim Cameron said. You can't look, we're distracted these days. It's like, and that's kind of like I was saying, we need to get back to serialized television where an episode can just come on and we don't have to be really focused. Andor, you got to be focused. You got to put your phone down, turn the volume up. Don't be, and an hour of focus. Put the subtitles on if you got to, because honestly, you can't understand Diego Luna sometimes. I love him, but I can't understand some of the things he says. But,
yeah, that's the way I'm with Peaky Blinders. I need to go back and try to watch it. I watched the first episodes. I couldn't understand a word anybody said, so I was like, I'll have to go watch the subtitles.
Okay, guys, we're at. How long do you think this episode was?
That'd be 2 hours.
2 hours and 12 minutes.
155. We made it under 2 hours.
Well, I think after the listening, you could probably make a second episode. Like,
oh, we could do. I'm telling you, every year we do a top 5 Star Trek episodes, and we can't
just pick completely different episodes and don't mention the old one.
Yeah, and I want to see if somebody actually notices. Wait a minute, did y'all already do a top 5 episode?
Everybody who's watching, remember to like, comment, subscribe down below. Not Clark, but
follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Do we have a Facebook?
I just put them on my regular page, the Wallman page. I mean, I guess I probably should make a Facebook one.
Well, thank y'all for having me on. It was a lot of fun to do this with y'all. And,
hey, Clark, you were always in the back of the brain. You and Bill. We're probably gonna have Bill next week, but I would love. Yeah, I think you're perfect for this.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I look forward to our next chat, whatever it may be about.
Yeah, we're thinking to do what, like top 5 DC villains next.
Well, no, I mean with Bill, we could do like, man, DC villains is like really specific. You want to just do top 5 superhero movies?
Yeah, I like keeping it in the movie thing. Yeah,
I mean, start with those and then start going into top 5.
I don't know, Clark. You can look. I got 4 spaces, so if you want to do the
4 spots on the screen.
We got 4 spots. So I the only concern I had was were we going to be all over each other, but we're not. It was fine. I think it was perfect. So if you want to end, just let us know.
Okay, awesome. Well,
I would like to record something every Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
I think that's a good day. Nobody's really got anything going on. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, I noticed like in your first week you would release like 4 things, and I'm like, man, they're going hard right out of the gate. But I assumed you weren't going to maintain that pace all the way through.
The top 5's like once a week. The John Carpenter thing just came up because neither one of us was doing anything.
Mike texted me, hey, you want to do a video? Well, this is going to happen a lot, though. Mike's going to be like, I'm all game to record every day. I love it. I'm really digging this. I really am. I'm not going to lie to you. I like clipping the videos. I like the editing of it and stuff. Yeah. And Mike hit me up and was like, yeah, you want to do a John Carpenter birthday video? And I'm like, hell yeah. Just got to make sure everybody's look how easy it is. I seen you a link your own. It's easy.
There you go.
It's freaking not hard at all. I'll probably just go ahead and post this right after we get done.
Okay, cool.
I'll probably set a premiere, kind of like that stuff. Set a little premiere. I won't edit this video at all. I'll just chop it up into little mini clips and I'll start posting shorts.
Okay.
I'm not like Anthony Hopkins. I will watch stuff I do. He famously will not watch his own movie, so he's never seen Silence of the Lambs.
I got to tell y'all this. Y'all all know I'm an egomaniac. Claire come in here. She goes, "Are you really sleeping to your own podcast?" I had him playing next to my ear.
I remember I saw an interview with Samuel L. Jackson once, and he's like, "Man, all these actors, they say, "Oh, I don't watch my own stuff. I don't watch my own movies. I can't watch myself." He said, like, they're all lying. I love to watch myself. They love to watch themselves. They're all watching
Well, here's the thing. I think certain people don't like their voice
Yeah,
on tape, and I can understand that.
sure.
Oh, I don't like looking at myself either,
Yeah.
but I do
Well,
it.
I
And
will
love
say
it.
this, Mark, and I would love to know your feedback, but I've gotten a lot of positive feedback the last week from not Bill, but you know, I was too pale.
Pale old
You
pale.
hear me? But from a lot of my friends, they're like, dude, that's real good stuff. I actually want to go see Gattaca. It's
Nice.
like, so you're the podcast guy. I'd like to know your feedback. So
Yeah, I'm enjoying
telling
it
you,
so
Clark,
far.
Walls during that top 5 video, he broke out Gattaca and Interstellar. I was waiting for him to break out 2001 and like Inception to try to make himself seem smarter than he is.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, my favorite is Clockwork Orange. It's my favorite.
I did like what you said about Hans Zimmer's score on Interstellar. I'm kind of where you were at the beginning of your journey with Interstellar, where I'm like, well, this is an incredible score. There's some great set pieces. I don't know if the whole movie quite clicks for me yet, but I'd like to get there.
It grew
with
on me,
someday.
Clark. It really did. It grew on me.
I love Hans Zimmer, and I don't know if I said it during the video. I want to say John Carpenter during a recent at a recent convention during a panel, someone asked him what he listened to now, like as far as music, and I think he said Hans Zimmer. He's like, that's it, Hans Zimmer.
Well, the internet has absolutely made Hans Zimmer even more famous than he ever was.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the kids today are like these 22-year-olds. Like I said, especially the Interstellar soundtrack. That docking sequence. If you watch any TikToks or anything, you're going to get some Interstellar or some kind of Hans Zimmer score. Whatsoever.
Yeah, we're over 20, so we don't have TikTok, Walls.
Claire's putting our TikTok. We're good. So there's a Hans Zimmer concert where they're in Prague in this like.
I watched that. I watched that. It's like on YouTube or like one of these channels.
And I can't find the actual concert. It's just clips out there.
Actually, I think I know where it is. It's called Quello, like Quuello. You can do like a 7-day free thing. I'm pretty sure that Hans Zimmer was on there because I know I watched it.
He came to Atlanta a few years back, and
I remember I wanted to go.
It was a lot of fun.
Could get Mike to go with me.
Wait,
he tours all over. I mean, he may come back someday. He's touring regularly.
They did a thing last year, and Claire bought tickets to it. She's like, because she's a big Hans Zimmer fan too, and she's like, "Hey, I got us tickets to Hans Zimmer," and I started looking. It's like a concert brought to you by Hans Zimmer.
Oh, so it was one of those where it's his music, but he's not there.
Exactly.
And I was like, remember that Star Trek one we went to where they played the music?
They played all the
behind it. They were playing the episode.
Yeah,
I've still got the hoodie.
That was not good. Like that really ticked me off. Like I didn't like that they were playing the stuff behind it. And weren't they playing like the people talking?
They played the dialogue over it. Sometimes it was clips from the wrong stuff that did not accompany the music they were playing.
When the wrong shows and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the music. I didn't need all that in the background. Like they could have just played like scenes from Star Trek, or just had like the Enterprise flying around. I
can't remember exactly what they did, but it was such like they'd be playing like, okay, here's a suite of music from Star Trek First Contact, and over that, here's a montage of all of Data's best scenes from all his films. I'm like, well, okay.
Clearly produced by people that don't really love the music.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Some company produced it. They didn't know what they were doing. So
that was a lot of fun though. I remember it was fun, but also I didn't enjoy the
I did a Zelda one. Kind of the similar thing, and it was a little better. But I got that hoodie from there, which is like the Enterprise's instruments, and I still have it to this day. So at least I got that hoodie.
So next year we're gonna aim for 2027 Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I'd love to do it.
I'd love to do it.
That's gonna be what, the 40th anniversary?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to go to at least 5 cons a year. I mean, Days of Dead, I love. I might dress up as Michael Myers.
I will tell my funny story about the Star Trek convention that Clark and I went to in Las Vegas. And I don't know. See, I'm sorry, I'm not good with names, but
we know
the guy from 2001, The Space Odyssey.
Not Ghirardelli,
Not
but the other
Ghirardelli.
guy, Gary Lockwood.
Gary Lockwood.
I remember this.
How the hell do you know that?
Clark was here for this. I walk up to his table, gonna spend money because I want an autograph from Gary Lockwood. I'm like, okay, he's a little bit older. I mean, gosh, this is nearly 10 years ago. So I don't know how old he is now, but he's an older guy. And I tell him, I'm like, I'm a big fan of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And then for the next, how long is it, Clark? For the next 5 minutes, he tries to sell me this 2001: A Space Odyssey statue that's on his table. And it's like expensive. It's like a $500 statue.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
What
I'm
is
thinking
the
about myself. I'm
statue
like,
of?
It's of him in the movie. Like it's a doll of him in the movie.
In the astronaut.
He's the one that gets cut loose, right? By Hal.
Yeah. And he was hard selling it too. He was like, "This is a
Hard
collector's item. There's this unique one of one." You know.
Why was he at a Star Trek convention?
Because he was in TOS.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So he becomes like uber powerful in the episode. Like his eyes.
Oh, he's the guy with the
become-
eyes and the beautiful girl. Yeah.
So he keeps selling that to me. Like he just keeps on, and I'm willing to spend the $50 or whatever it is to get an autograph from on an 8x10. As he keeps selling this, I guess he realizes I'm not going to buy it. So another guy walks up. He starts talking to that guy. I'm like, all right. Well, I guess he didn't want my money. So I walked off.
So you didn't even get a signature?
Didn't even get an autograph. Like I was.
God damn it, Fury Road!
Because he basically he turned to this other guy and just started talking to him, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, we saw Fury Road.
I guess he thought I wasn't going to buy anything. Like I came up with money in hand, 8x10. Sign this.
Kind of like, tell me how is it set up like a ManCon at the Star Trek con, or is it
It's at a hotel? It's at the Rio.
So it's set up like a hotel con. Okay, good.
Yeah, there's a big
like
vendor room, and then
man, the Rio is like gets so blasted by Vegas. Suppose it was just a horrible hotel.
Well, we didn't stay at the Rio. We stayed.
What was the hotel we stayed at? But
it used to be the Hilton. It's where the Star Trek Experience was. We stayed at that hotel.
That's nowhere near the Rio.
We were kind of regretting not staying at the Rio because we had a little bit of a hike and we couldn't take a break in the room or anything if we.
Why did y'all do it that way?
Because I wanted to be on the Strip. Because the Rio is not on the Strip.
It's not. It's like way off the Strip.
Yeah.
So but then wasn't that the year where they had like rooms were flooded or something, and there was some kind of disaster at the Rio that year that people were dealing with?
Yeah, they had to go to another space.
Yeah.
Then now they're back at the Rio. But yeah, I would love to go. I'd love to go back to it.
Cole Meany, dude. Cole Meany.
Clark had a great time.
Cole Meany, please come to the Star Trek.
No, I had a once in a lifetime experience, maybe twice if I go back, but it was great. It was great.
I'll never forget. We had so many pro photo ops. Like there's just like I had all these tickets, and me and Clark had to do like a draft of all the photos because we didn't have reprints. We didn't do reprints on them.
Let's look at the.
And I think we did like 19 of them.
Yeah, we had a bunch.
Star Trek Con. It's Star Trek
Actually,
Con, right?
That's the one time in Vegas where I won a lot of money. I actually won like $700.
You won like a few $100s. Was it the Walking Dead slot machine that you were playing? Machine. I remember that. Yeah.
And so I was like, Clark, we're gonna get an Alice Krieg photo op because with my win.
What did you win? Oh, I missed that story. What did you say?
I won on a Walking Dead slot machine. It was like I said 700. It might have been like 300 or 400. I can't remember.
My memory was that it was like 200 and something, but it was a good
more
bit.
Than that.
It was a good bit.
Yeah, I think it was more than 200.
Okay.
Wow.
But you definitely
I remember the machine just going nuts. Like the machine was like ding 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 ding. I was like, oh my god, I want something.
And I remember that was the year Twin Peaks: The Return had come out, and so I kept thinking of Kyle MacLachlan as Mr. Jackpots in the casino. Keeps going up to the slot machines, and all the coins come spilling out.
Mr. Jackpots. Okay, so look, I got the Star Trek Las Vegas pulled up, by the way. I'm looking at it. So let's see who we got going here. We got Chase Masterson's returning.
Is that for this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the 60th anniversary, right?
They announced a lot more like in the months ahead because it's pretty early.
But last year they announced Colin Meany, and I think he canceled.
Yeah.
Okay. Is William Shatner going to be there? Give me an answer, yes or no.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, he is.
60th anniversary.
You're damn right he's going to be there. He's the number one there.
We got George Takei and
Walter Koenig.
They'll all be there.
Yeah.
we were fortunate enough to meet Nichelle Nichols there that year too.
Yeah, that was a really, really special experience.
Just looking at the guest, got a lot of. Oh, Casey Biggs will be there, so that means they'll do the Brat Pack for sure. Yeah. Huh. Jonathan Frakes is going to be there. Hey, speaking of, Jonathan Frakes directed a great episode that I didn't mention on TNG was Drumhead. It was really close on the list for me. Have y'all ever seen it?
Which one?
Drumhead.
Yeah, explain to me which one it is.
It's the one where there's an explosion on the Enterprise, and this Klingon exchange student is accused of like stealing secrets to the Romulans, and this Admiral Sati comes on board, right? And it's a great episode where like she's basically doing a witch hunt, and they find out that this crewman Simon Tarsus is his granddaddy's Romulan. And but they're investigating, right? And they're basically interviewing everybody on the Enterprise, and they have a Beta Z as like an interviewer, and he's lying about something, and he finds out that his granddaddy was Romulan. He lied in his entrance exam to get into Starfleet because the Romulans are enemies. So basically, Admiral Sati is like in a witch hunt to find out who's sabotaging this stuff on the Enterprise. Worf is all in on it. He's like, there are enemies that will destroy us. And Picard goes off on Worf in this episode. He's like, he did lie about his application. And Picard's sitting in his chair like, he goes, that is not a crime, Worf. Like he gets like really pissed off at Worf. And the episode continues on where they investigate Picard. Like she's done turned on him now. And she talks about how he broke the Prime Directive like 20 times. And Worf actually is like, if Captain Picard hadn't done that, the ship would have been captured. And then she's like, well, what about the Battle of Wolf 359? She's like, 39 starships destroyed, death of life, something like 11,000. And what comes from that episode is the faceplant meme, the meme. The Picard meme.
Yep.
So, which is synonymous with Star Trek memes out there right on the internet. And Jonathan Frakes directed this episode, but basically it ends with him quoting her daddy, Judge Aaron Seti, talking about how a man's rights could not be, censored or trodden upon. And it's a one. I'm telling you, watch Drumhead on TNG. It's beautiful episode. But it was I had it in my list, and it was this close to going top 5. But okay.
I feel like our top 5 list YouTube episodes longer than any Star Trek movie,
except for the motion picture. Okay, guys. Well, now we're at 212. So if y'all got anything else, forever now or hold your peace. I'm trying to hey, Terry Metalis is going to be there.
Oh, nice.
I would be like, dude, why didn't you make what's the Star Trek show everybody wanted? Legacy?
Yeah, well, I think it's the studio, the network that's really kind of been holding back on that he wants to do it.
How could you not do that show? You got 7 and 9 as the captain. You bring Shaw back somehow. I just don't want to do what the fans want. Okay. Well,
thank y'all again. It was a treat to be able to do this with y'all.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop the recording. Y'all don't have to stop talking. I'm just going to cancel the recording, and we are out. Live long and prosper. Mike, anything?
Have a great day, everyone.
As everybody knows, I'm the Wallman, and this is Mike and Clark.
Yep. Wherever I am.